Chapter 579. So weak. If this treasure had fallen into the hands of Xianwuji, I'm afraid it would have been enough to turn the tide of that battle. Qin Feng sighed. In fact, when he was talking to the white-robed man, he had quietly slipped into the void, leaving only a doppelganger behind. The white-robed man had a treasure, but his eyesight was limited, so he was easily killed by Qin Feng. Qin Feng took the dark green spring and autumn brush into his hand and felt the rich light and righteous energy in the brush. He smiled. Although he had no use for this Confucian item, he could use it to exchange with the people of the Spirit Treasure Sect. This item contained the path of the Confucian sage and had irreplaceable benefits for Confucian disciples. He believed that the Confucian experts would be willing to spend a lot of money to buy it. Puchi. The sword light was drawn and the white-robed man fell. At that moment Qin Feng frowned. A shrill figure burst out of the void like a stream of light and pounced on his chest. Originally, Qin Feng wanted to kill the enemy with a single slash, but in the next moment, Qin Feng's expression changed. His Milky Way true power changed, and a pitch-black gust of wind blasted out like lightning. In an instant it bombarded the body of the sneak attacker. Puchi. Blood spurted out. With a wail, a small spirit beast was sent flying. It was the Spacebreaker beast. Qin Feng appeared in front of the Spacebreaker beast. With a point of his finger, an invisible force froze the little beast in the void. GG. The little beast stared at Qin Feng angrily. It was already seriously injured, and Qin Feng's attack had taken away half of its life. However, it was still full of murderous intent. A gray light loomed on its body. It was burning its potential and wanted to fight to the death with Qin Feng. This little thing is quite loyal. Qin Feng's fingers weaved seals, and an invisible force enveloped the little beast. The light flowed and turned into a net of light to seal the little beast. This was the Great Light Immovable Seal. Qin Feng had passed this secret technique to Bai Yen. This was to prevent the little beast from exhausting its potential and dying. However, the little beast did not appreciate his kindness. Rumble. The gray divine radiance was rising from its broken scales and attacking the seal. The little critter's eyes were filled with determination. The net of light formed by the seal of light was shattering inch by inch. Qin Feng was shocked. This little thing is actually so loyal. What kind of bewitching potion did that fellow feed you? He beat you up like that and you still want to avenge him? GG. The little critter bellowed in grief. The gray divine light on its body was like a rising flame. The void seemed to be melted by this gray flame. An extremely dangerous aura was emitted from its body. What a stubborn little guy. Qin Feng was secretly annoyed. However, the more it was like this, the more Qin Feng wanted to subdue it. If he could subdue such a loyal and pure-blooded void attribute spirit beast, it would definitely be a great help in the cruel world of great battles in the future. Chaotic Light and Darkness Seal. Another sealing secret technique appeared in his mind. The light aura in Qin Feng's palm surged and split into two. It evolved into light and darkness, black and white, forming two boundless ancient runes. One represented light, and the other represented darkness. The mottled black and white runes intertwined. At the same time, black and white light bloomed and turned into a large net that enveloped the little beast's body. The void flame on the little beast's body was pushed back into the little beast's body layer by layer, forming a grain-sized black and white diamond-shaped crystal in the depths of the little beast's dantian. As soon as this black and white diamond-shaped crystal entered the dantian, it merged with the little beast's bloodline and strength. It continuously absorbed the little beast's strength and turned it into blood energy, causing the little beast to temporarily lose all its strength. After absorbing the little beast's strength, this grain-sized black and white diamond-shaped crystal slowly grew to the size of a soybean and even the size of a pigeon's egg. The little beast lost its strength, and in addition to being seriously injured, it immediately wailed and fainted. Little thing, you really know how to torment yourself. Qin Feng grabbed the little beast and glanced at it. Qin Feng gave a wry smile. I, Qin Feng, have always only killed and not saved. I never expected to break my precepts for you. He casually threw the little beast into the chaos heavens. Caw, caw. A newcomer? Lord Ba looked in astonishment at the little beast that descended from the sky. At the same time, a voice sounded in its ears. From this moment forth, it's your lackey. However, it's wild and untamed. Watch it well and don't let it cause any trouble. A plump, black-feathered crow flapped its wings as its eyes darted around. It came in front of the space splitter like a lord and muttered, training new disciples. Teaching newbies, Lord Ba loves it the most. After putting away the space splitter, Qin Feng scanned his surroundings and glanced at the white-dressed man. If it were any other warrior at the peak of the Sea of Reincarnation realm, Qin Feng would definitely have stuffed him into the chaos heavens as spirit fertilizer. However, Qin Feng could not do so to a person with such a background like the white-dressed man. Such a disciple might have secrets in his body. It was very easy for him to leave behind a latent danger in the chaos heavens. If the white-dressed man had some sort of void coordinate, once he was devoured, it would probably allow experts to lock onto the chaos heavens location. When that happened, it would truly be a case of going for wool and coming home shorn. Qin Feng set fire to the white-clothed man and all the traces in the surroundings. Then, he immediately left this place. Just as the white-dressed man was about to die. In a solemn and dignified palace in the Ji Profound sect, a spirited and dignified elder was explaining the classics. Suddenly, his expression changed as he stopped his explanation. Below the platform, the disciples who were listening to the elder's preaching had a change in expression. This was the illustrious Virtue Tao Palace where one of the 12 sages of the Ji Profound sect, Sage Wind Thunder, resided. The 12 sages were equivalent in status to the 28 peak chiefs of the Xingqian school. Each of them was a half-sage who was about to enter the sage realm. The illustrious Virtue Tao Palace was derived from one of the Confucian classics, the Great Learning. It was about being virtuous, being close to the people, and being good. The disciples below were no ordinary disciples. They were many inherited teachings disciples of the Ji Profound sect, and some were even Confucians who were equivalent to mighty figures. A dark-skinned disciple of average height stood up and said calmly, "Teacher, did something happen?" He was the eldest disciple of the illustrious Virtue Tao Palace, Zilu. He was also the most outstanding inherited teachings disciple of the illustrious Virtue Tao Palace. At less than 50 years of age, he had already understood the righteous truth and was halfway into the realm of Confucian. After a moment of silence, Sage Wind Thunder sighed. "Your junior brother is dead." The expressions of the disciples below changed. All of them looked at Sage Wind Thunder. This sage had a demeanor of joy but not lust, sorrow but not grief. It was as though the one who had died was an ant. However, all the disciples knew that their junior brother, Song Huaixing, was the only son of their teacher. The grudge of his son's death was greater than the heavens. After a moment of silence, Zilu suddenly stepped forward and bowed to Sage Wind Thunder. He touched the sword at his waist and turned to stride out of the illustrious Virtue Tao Palace. Looking at this scene, the Wind Thunder Sage's face, which was as white as a pine tree, twitched. After a while, he sighed. Chapter 580. After killing the white-robed man, Qin Feng found a place to refine the sea god's relic. The sea god's relic contained an extremely rich sea god's essence. If he could refine it, his strength would improve by leaps and bounds. But Qin Feng had to give up on this idea. The sea god's relic contained an extremely strong energy. Even his Star River True Force at the 3rd level of extreme grade could not chew through it. He could only refine it day after day. In his body, the pearl-like sea god's relic's essence was refined and added to his Star River True Force. His Star River true force was improving almost all the time. This kind of cultivation speed was several times faster than before. In a flash, he appeared on top of a mountain. It was a blood-red ancient maple forest. I heard that there are 7 sea gods relic. If there are 7 of them, my cultivation speed might be several times faster. Puff! A surge of energy in his body vibrated as another black water acupoint was refined. During this time, another 20 to 30 acupoints were refined. This time, there were nearly 400 black water acupoints refined. But the strange thing was, it seemed that after cultivating the black water mystical snake's body, the black water mystical snake's true acupoints were refined and their strength increased. It seemed that since the black water mystical snake's bloodline was refined, the black water mystical snake's bloodline was also integrated. This made Qin Feng's black water mystical snake's bloodline much stronger and produced an inexplicable mutation. When Qin Feng transformed into the black water mystical snake, his ability to control the water was stronger. It could also be said that his talent was getting stronger. If Qin Feng's black water mystical snake was considered ordinary among the many black water mystical snake, then he was now considered a genius among the black water mystical snake. And this change was still ongoing. The more black water acupoints refined, the stronger the black water mystical snake's true body became. Standing on the mountain, at a glance, the sea spirit continent's terrain was complex and ancient tombs were scattered everywhere. The 7 sea gods relic, 1 of them is in my hands. As for the other 6, 5 of them are in the hands of the Dragon Palace of the 5 Seas. The last one is in the hands of a mysterious person. No matter which one it is not easy to get it. Qin Feng frowned. The strength of the Dragon Palace of the 5 Seas was huge, and it was no weaker than the top 10 divine sects of the 72 orthodox sections. An expert from the Dragon Palace of the 5 Seas would definitely not be weaker than Xianwuji. It had been 4 days since they entered the sea spirit world. In a flash, Qin Feng swept his gaze across the sea spirit continent. At this moment, in a radius of tens of miles away, a beam of spiritual light shot up into the sky. The vast brilliance stirred the spiritual energy above the sea spirit continent, absorbing the spiritual energy to form a huge vortex. This was the sign of the birth of a treasure. Could it be that some kind of true treasure has appeared? Looking up, Qin Feng's eyes lit up. After pondering for a while, Qin Feng leaped into the air. Wisps of black wind gushed out from his body and flew close to the ground, covering dozens of miles in the blink of an eye. After a few dozen breaths, Qin Feng appeared on top of a small mountain. At the foot of the mountain was the place where the spiritual light rushed out. Qin Feng glanced around and his gaze fell on one of the ancient tombs at the foot of the mountain. At this moment, a huge crack appeared on the ancient tomb. An extremely strong brilliance rushed out from the ancient tomb. It's a water true treasure. Qin Feng's eyes lit up. If he could get his hands on this water true treasure, it would be a huge boost to his strength. For example, Jiang Chao from Xingchen School, who was known as the water god Peng Chuan, if not for the water true treasure that was changed into the Black Emperor title banner, Jiang Chao would never have been able to become an inner disciple. Qin Feng did not rush over immediately. He glanced at the ancient tomb, and a strange aura appeared in his spiritual sense. What a brilliant illusion array! Sneering, Qin Feng was about to move when his expression changed. He heard the sound of wind from afar. Without making a sound, he hid in a crack between a rock. A moment later, the sound of wind whistling could be heard descending from the sky. It was a young man with a malicious expression. He glanced at the big screen and his eyes revealed a look of surprise. A true treasure! A true treasure has appeared here. It's really a banner from the heavens. I, Sun Huan, am destined to be lucky. His body flashed. At this moment, his expression changed. He looked up at the sky and saw a fiery red flowing light cutting through the sky. His face sank and a trace of killing intent flashed. A moment later, a sinister smile appeared on his face. Sun Huan's figure silently disappeared into the ground. A fiery red stream of light flashed, and a beautiful woman appeared where Sun Huan had disappeared. She had a seductive appearance and a demonic temperament. She was wrapped in a light gauze and a seductive aura leaked out. She did not look like a good person. Seeing this woman, Qin Feng's eyes flashed. He knew this woman. This woman was the supreme elder of a small sect called the Purgatory Sect. This woman was called the Witch Li Hua. She cultivated a fire martial Dao cultivation method. Her strength was only average among the martial Dao giant. However, her techniques were very powerful. Coupled with her beautiful and charming appearance, there were many martial Dao experts who had fallen for her. Later on, it was said that in order to steal the sect's treasures, she betrayed the sect and called herself the Lihua Palace Lord. She recruited male gigolos every day and built up a good business. Among the rogue cultivators, she could call the wind and summon the rain. She was very carefree. However, Qin Feng was quite surprised to see him in the sea spirit world this time. As the red light descended, her gaze instantly fell upon the pillar of spiritual light. It's a true treasure. The Witch Li Hua's beautiful eyes shone as she stared at the ancient tomb. She was originally a seductive woman. Now that she was excited, her beautiful body trembled, revealing many parts of her body. Qin Feng's expression changed slightly. Under his gaze, the Witch Li Hua walked towards the ancient tomb step by step. However, at this moment, from the silent ground, a cold light shot out. A saber light as big as a mountain slashed out from below. Sneak attack. The Witch of Li Hua's expression changed abruptly. Strands of pink demonic flames appeared on her body as she struck out with her palm. She immediately retreated. Who's the sneak attack? Hold on. I'm the Palace Lord of the Lihua Palace in the St. Cliff. Is there a misunderstanding? The saber light cut through the demonic flames and flew out from the Witch Li Hua's body. The heavy saber light landed on the void, shattering it. The Witch Li Hua's expression changed drastically. She was not good at this kind of battle. Coupled with Sun Huan's sneak attack, she was completely at a disadvantage. Boom! The air exploded. A yellow figure spun and unfolded like a top. There is no misunderstanding between us. How dare you covet the true treasure? You deserve to die. Thousand Peak Mountain Slash. Sun Huan grinned. His body moved and the saber light changed. A saber light that could split the sky followed him and locked onto the Witch Li Hua. The Witch Li Hua's expression changed drastically. Her eyes flashed with a hint of viciousness. You've gone too far. I'll fight you to the death. Heavenly fire burned the city. A fiery red shadow appeared on her body. It was her Li Hua mystic realm. She had used the power of heaven and earth. Boom! The yellow saber light slashed onto the red light. It split the power of heaven and earth like lightning. While the Witch Li Hua was still in shock, the saber light slashed through her body. A crackling sound was heard. Her body was split into two. Whoosh! Whoosh! After the sound of the wind, Sun Huan walked out of the red light while coughing. He was holding an ancient crocodile saber. His clothes were tattered and his skin was festering. His skin was charred black by the flames. Although he had killed the Witch Li Hua, Sun Huan had to pay a price. The true treasure is mine. With a cold voice, he glared at the Witch Li Hua who had died with her eyes wide open. His burning gaze landed on the ancient tomb. Chapter 581. Looking coldly at Sun Huan killing the Li Hua witch, Qin Feng gradually figured out the origin of this young man. The true power flowing around Sun Huan was obviously water-type. Those with water-type true power were mostly from the Sea Race Dragon Palace. However, it was hard to tell which water type he came from. However, to be able to kill a martial arts giant like the Li Hua witch at the peak of the Sea Revolution realm, his identity must be extraordinary. Qin Feng didn't want to take the opportunity to kill Sun Huan. He looked coldly at Sun Huan as he stepped forward. Sun Huan was vigilant as he spread out his spiritual sense to observe the changes in the surroundings. Holding his long saber, he arrived in front of the ancient tomb in a few steps. Glancing at the light, he took a deep breath and stabbed his long saber into the ancient tomb. The true power in his hands surged and turned into a huge waterfall-like net that enveloped the ancient tomb. Qin Feng's eyes moved as he smiled lightly. Sun Huan was suppressing the phenomenon of the true weapon. Layers of flowing light gradually separated the underground brilliance, and it looked like the phenomenon was about to be completely suppressed. At this moment, layers of thick fog appeared silently in the surroundings. Sun Huan didn't notice it, but Qin Feng saw it clearly. It came from the surrounding tombs. At the same time, 3 to 4 dense death auras rushed out and rushed into Sun Huan's body like lightning. Sun Huan's face instantly stiffened. Possession. Qin Feng's eyes lit up as he saw clearly that it was 4 vengeful spirits. These old antiques are really cunning. They actually used the true weapon to bait. Qin Feng thought to himself as he sneered. At this moment, Qin Feng moved. His body flashed and silently appeared beside Sun Huan. A snow-white sword light circled around Sun Huan's head and slashed. Puchi! A huge 6 suns head soared into the sky as blood dyed the ancient tomb red. Roar! Bastard! Who dares to spoil the patriarch's plan? Ah, I'm going to kill you! Die! 4 furious roars burst out from Sun Huan's body, piercing straight into his soul. Qin Feng didn't mind at all. He waved his sleeve, and rolling demon generals rushed out from his body. Among them, there was a formless heavenly demon, the profound Een heavenly demon. They were Mo1 and Mo2. The 2 sky fiends cackled strangely. Another one is crippled. Little ones, the patriarch has sent us out. The dense black fog caused the surrounding area to be in complete darkness. What the hell? What kind of evil thing is this? Why can't I kill him? The 4 wraiths' expressions changed drastically as they looked at the inner demons surrounding them. Streaks of gray death chi streaked across the void, shattering the boundless inner demons. However, the inner demons gathered and regenerated. A heart demon lotus appeared beneath Qin Feng's feet as it continuously refined the surrounding essence energy into a demon domain, trapping the 4 vengeful spirit. To other martial artists, such a vengeful spirit was terrifying. But to him, it was a rare treasure. Not only could this vengeful spirit refine inner demons, but it also contained memories. To Qin Feng, it was tantamount to a secret cultivation manual. This was especially true for his understanding of the water element, which allowed him to benefit a lot from his attainments in the water element. Boom! The 4 vengeful spirits attacked the demon domain. However, with Qin Feng in charge, the 4 vengeful spirits were like turtles in a jar. After a while, the 4 vengeful spirits were all subdued. 3 of them were devoured by Mo2, turning into a formless heavenly demon. The other one was devoured by a 9 Een inner demon and turned into a profound Een heavenly demon. Patriarch! This new ferocious heavenly demon knelt in front of Qin Feng's heart demon lotus like an obedient baby. Qin Feng said, "From today onwards you will be called Mo3. Yes, thank you for the name, Patriarch." This heavenly demon was overjoyed. Qin Feng shook his head, and then kept the 3 heavenly demons in the depths of his soul altar before withdrawing from the demon domain. His gaze fell on the spiritual light pillar in the ancient tomb. He waved his sleeve. Boom! The ancient tomb cracked open and the true treasure, emitting spiritual light, appeared in front of Qin Feng. This was a true treasure that looked like a flag. Qin Feng casually took the flag in his hand and frowned. This flag's pole was neither gold nor wood. It was entirely blue. It looked like the legendary deep-sea divine iron. The flag looked strange with strange patterns embroidered on it. It was unknown what material it was made of. It was blue and emitted an ocean-like luster. Most importantly, the flag looked tattered, with 7 or 8 tiny holes. This was an ancient true treasure. However, according to Qin Feng's judgment, due to the erosion of time and some damage, this true treasure could only be considered a false true treasure at best. After sensing it for a while, Qin Feng understood the function of this true treasure. It could control water and absorb the essence of fierce beasts, turning it into pure yuan qi to help martial artists cultivate. It could be considered a false true treasure with excellent attack and support. It was also because of the latter function that this precious true treasure did not turn into ashes like the other treasures in the tomb. Of course, it was also because of this that the 4 vengeful spirits were left behind. This was because the sea spirit flag had the miraculous power to condense souls and retain spirituality. Good stuff. This treasure is not of much use to me, but I can give it to that little girl Honglian to make up for her late start. Qin Feng's eyes lit up. Casually putting away this treasure, Qin Feng's gaze fell on the other 4 main tombs. On the tip of his finger, a force flowed out and wiped away the restrictions on the surrounding tombs, revealing the real inscriptions of the other tomb owners. The tomb of the first-generation Sea Swallow Patriarch of the Sea Swallow tribe. The tomb of the first-generation Grand Elder of the Sea Spirit tribe, Ningningzi. The tomb of the third-generation Patriarch of the Long Bow Giant tribe, Ancestor Long Kuei. The tomb of the third-generation Patriarch of the Sea Spirit tribe, Kuei-shui Inji. Qin Feng was a little dazzled. These old antiques all had some background, they were all supreme experts from the ancient era. With so many antiques, they should have some background. Qin Feng's expression changed as he stomped on the ground. Rumble. The ground within a radius of several hundred feet was overturned. The 4 tombs cracked open. Skeletons appeared one after another, turning into ashes in the wind. Even mighty experts could not withstand the power of time. Qin Feng swept a glance and quickly shook his head. These old fellows did have some background, but the elixirs and treasures they left behind had all turned into ashes. Suddenly, Qin Feng's expression changed. In the depths of the spiritual platform, the 3 heavenly demons transmitted some fragmented memories. These were the memories of the 4 vengeful spirits. These memories were very fragmented and incomplete. Other than some incomplete cultivation techniques, there were also some fragmented memories. Qin Feng noticed 2 pieces of information. One was related to the Sea God's relic. The 7 Sea God's relics are the keys to the Sea God's palace. The Sea God's palace is located in the deepest part of the Sea Spirit world. The ancient Sea Spirit world was divided into 3 parts, and this is only one of them. There's such a secret. Qin Feng was surprised. At the same time, there was another secret about the whereabouts of the Blackwater Patriarch's tomb. The Blackwater Patriarch was the 2nd-generation ancestor of the Blackwater mystical snake. He was the direct descendant of the Blackwater mystical snake, the ancestor of the Blackwater tribe. This update will be released first. The 3rd and 4th updates will be added together. It will be released at around 9 o'clock. Chapter 582. The 2nd-generation Dark Water mystical snake. That was the son of the Dark Water True Spirit. He had the purest bloodline of the Dark Water True Spirit. In Qin Feng's inherited memories, although the son of Dark Water's father occupied the demon god position of the Dark Water Dao and blocked his path, he was still one of the best among the ancient supreme beings. If I can get the cultivation experience of the son of Dark Water, I might be able to cultivate to the Dark Water demon god position in a short time. Although the Tao of Blackwater is only one of the postnatal demon god venerable positions and cannot be compared to the middle celestial venerable positions or even the Xiantian venerable positions, he is still a demon god. Everyone below the demon god is just an ant. He was excited. According to the remnant memories of the 4 experts, The second-generation dark water mystical snake was injured by one of the three ancient sovereigns, the Sui sovereign, during the Second Great War of Gods and Demons. His injuries were irreparable, and he came to this sea spirit continent to rest somewhere in the center of this continent. I must find the tomb of the second-generation son of dark water. Muttering to himself, Qin Feng's face was slightly happy. He glanced around and sneered. With a flash, he rushed toward the sea spirit continent in the direction of the memories of the four great resentful spirits. The sea spirit continent was vast, and there was not much time left for Qin Feng. After Qin Feng left, several streaks of light flashed and appeared in the surroundings. All of them looked at the opened ancient trees with pity in their eyes. They looked at the direction where Qin Feng left with fear in their eyes. These people had arrived here a long time ago. They saw how Qin Feng dealt with the vengeful spirits and how he took away the treasures. They did not dare to move. What a pity! That man is too strong. We are no match for him. He saw us at the last glance. Fortunately, he did not want to pay attention to us. Otherwise, we would all be dead. What a monster! Suppressing four martial overlord-level vengeful spirits was as easy as slaughtering chickens. Yeah, any one of those four vengeful spirits would be a huge threat if they were to escape. Even the magnates of a region wouldn't be able to do anything to them. I didn't expect them to be destroyed just like that. Everyone's faces were filled with deep fear. Magnates were the overlords of a region. No matter which country he was in, he would be an old ancestor, or even a powerful existence like the founding emperor of a country. Yet, he had been crushed to death so easily. Of course, Qin Feng had noticed the gazes that were secretly spying on him, but he was too lazy to make a move. At this point, 4 days had already passed. He could feel that the sea spirit world was showing more and more malice towards foreign warriors like them. In 3 days at most, they would be expelled from the sea spirit world. To find the tomb of the son of black water in the vast sea spirit continent within 3 days was an extremely difficult task. 1 day later, swoosh! With a flash of black light, Qin Feng appeared in the vicinity of a lake. Qin Feng muttered to himself as he glanced at the lake that was filled with water. According to the information left behind by the four vengeful spirits, the tomb of the son of black water should be in this area. However, this area is surrounded by small lakes and green mountains. If we come one by one, I'm afraid we won't be able to find the tomb of the son of black water within 2 days. As Qin Feng pondered in his heart, he suddenly thought of something. Oh right, the son of Blackwater is the second-generation ancestor of the Blackwater mystical snake. What could be deeper than the bloodline? Why don't I transform into the body of the Blackwater mystical snake? Maybe I can find something else. Qin Feng's expression changed slightly. Using the Galaxy True Force, he activated the Blackwater demonic core in his body. A surge of Blackwater demonic core rushed out from the demonic core and poured into his body. Qin Feng's body began to change. His legs turned into a black snake tail. Snake tail and human body. As he transformed into the body of the Blackwater mystical snake, Qin Feng felt a faint sense of familiarity in the depths of his soul. It works! Closing his eyes slightly, Qin Feng swung his snake tail. His body moved like the wind, following the invisible wave into the depths of the lake. Whoosh! Silently, a whirlpool appeared on the surface of the water. Qin Feng went in. At the same time, after Qin Feng left, the fog in the void turned hazy. 3 figures walked out of the fog silently. Among the 3 figures, the one in the lead was slender and handsome. His slightly dark skin exuded a powerful aura. He actually had dragon horns. At this time, he pointed at a flag with rolling water vapor. Dense fog surrounded the 3 figures. Crown Prince, this is the Blackwater mystical snake clan. It seems that this is indeed the tomb of the son of Blackwater. The one who spoke was the person behind the Crown Prince of the Dragon clan. This person was tall and abnormally burly. His eyes were like copper bells. His aura was very strong. Beside him was a short and wretched middle-aged man. The middle-aged man lowered his head and said submissively, "Crown Prince, it seems that your fortune has come. The son of Blackwater is the ancestor of the Blackwater mystical snake clan. He has the purest true spirit blood. Crown Prince also has a part of the Blackwater mystical snake clan's bloodline. If you can get the true spirit blood of the son of Blackwater, you will definitely be able to attain the position of Dark Water Devil in an extremely short time." The middle-aged man's words showed that he had already regarded Qin Feng as a dead man. The Crown Prince shook his head. "Old Tortoise, General Haiyu, don't underestimate the son of Dark Water. He is the son of the Dark Water True Spirit. If it wasn't for the Dark Water True Spirit occupying the position of Demon God, he might have already reached Tao. The other old antiques have made arrangements to be reborn. I believe that the son of Blackwater has the corresponding means." Old Turtle and the middle-aged man nodded. "Exactly. That young man of the Blackwater mystical snake clan can be our pathfinder. We can temporarily follow behind him. If there is any danger, he will be in front of us. We can also adapt to the situation." The dragon-horned young man nodded with a smile. "That's right. If we get benefits, we can be the Oriole and take his life." After saying that, he waved the small flag in his hand. A thick fog wrapped around the three of them, and they turned into a green smoke that disappeared into the lake. They quietly merged into an undercurrent and followed the figure in front of them. After the three of them left, a black light appeared in the void. It was surrounded by devil chi and was cackling strangely. After a while, it turned into a black light and merged into the lake. In the lake, Qin Feng followed the fluctuation in the depths of the soul and headed to the bottom of the lake. Suddenly, a black light caught up with him and entered his heart. At the same time, images appeared in his mind. "Sure enough, someone is following us," Qin Feng thought. He had a cold smile on his face. From the moment he appeared at the lakeside, he had sensed that someone was secretly spying on him. Therefore, before he entered the bottom of the lake, he had quietly left a sky demon avatar in the air. Sure enough, he had gained a lot. "You want to use me as cannon fodder and be the Oriole? Humph! Today, I will show you the means of your grandfather. There will be more after 9 o'clock. Chapter 583. Who knows who's the Oriole? With a gloomy smile, he intertwined his fingers in front of his chest and formed a seal. 10 galaxy true power flowed out from his fingers. Silently, a huge undercurrent swept out from the depths of the darkness and enveloped Qin Feng's figure. It stirred up the surrounding area and made it extremely turbid. 3,000 feet behind him, the three people who were closely watching Qin Feng's movements had a change in expression. But in the next moment, their expressions returned to normal. After the undercurrent passed, Qin Feng's figure appeared in their field of vision once again. The three of them did not know that after the undercurrent, Qin Feng's real body had already left. The one in front of them was just a clone formed by the water spirit force. The water flow surged, and a stream of water silently followed Qin Feng, who was in front of him. After the three controlled the water flow, Qin Feng's figure emerged from the water. He looked in the direction of the three people and smiled. He followed the water flow from afar. After a few hundred breaths, a luxurious underwater palace appeared in front of everyone. The scale of this underwater palace was not inferior to the overflowing sea palace under the Cloud Lake. It was dazzling with gold and jade, richly ornamented, and magnificent underwater. The only flaw was that there was no sign of life in this place, and it was deathly still. Qin Feng flashed and appeared in front of a white jade-like decorated archway. Black Water Palace. On the archway, there were 4 ancient characters that exuded a charm. "This is the Black Water Palace. Sure enough, this is the sleeping place of the son of Black Water." Qin Feng had an unconcealable joy on his face. He could not wait to enter the underwater palace. After Qin Feng entered, a stream of water flowed and 3 figures appeared. The one in front had a dignified appearance and towering dragon horns. It was the Dragon Crown Prince. His face flickered and was filled with malice. He went in. Old Turtle asked softly, "Crown Prince, should we follow him in?" He waved his hand and said, "Wait a moment." In the dark, Qin Feng was silently observing the 3 of them. The aura emitted by the 3 of them made him abnormally wary. They were all tyrannical existences at the pinnacle of the martial Tao overlord realm. The 3 of them had all comprehended water elemental essences. As they stood in the water, a majestic aura spread out from the water surface. It was terrifying. It seems that this young dragon has a high status in the dragon race. He has such an expert as his bodyguard. I wonder which clan he is from in the Dragon Palace of the 5 Seas. In Qin Feng's impression, the one in charge of the Eastern Sea was the Azure Dragon. Red Dragon was in charge of the South Sea. The Black Dragon was the master of the North Sea. Shi Bailong was the master of the West Ocean. The Golden Dragon clan was in charge of the Endless Ocean. The 5 Seas were clearly separated. The other dragons lived in the 5 Seas and were ruled by the 5 superior dragons. Looking at the young man's dragon horns, Qin Feng judged that he was most likely from the Azure Dragon clan. The Azure Dragon clan contained the innate true spirit Azure Dragon bloodline and had great potential. They were proficient in lightning arts and were extremely powerful. Together with the Black Tortoise True Spirit of the North, the Vermilion Bird True Spirit of the South, and the White Tiger True Spirit of the West, they were known as the 4 overlords of the ancient True Spirits. Suddenly, Qin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He felt that he had completely lost contact with the clone that had entered the Black Water Mansion. In other words, he had died. Qin Feng was surprised. Although the clone did not have his strength, he still had some of his knowledge. Logically speaking, even if he encountered some powerful restriction formations and mechanisms, he should not have died so quickly. It seems that there is something fishy about this, he thought to himself. Half an hour later, outside the Black Water Mansion, the young man with dragon horns was a little impatient. He frowned and his eyes flickered. "Why is there no movement in the Black Water Mansion?" The burly sea general interrupted. "Is he inheriting the power of the Son of Black Water?" Hearing this, the Dragon Prince's face became extremely gloomy. A trace of killing intent flickered in his eyes. Old Turtle said, "Should we go in and take a look?" The burly sea general said loudly, "Of course we should go in. If we go in and die, the treasures will be taken away by that black water mystical snake boy. Prince, let's go in. It will be too late if we wait any longer." Qin Feng was hiding in the dark. Hearing this, he sneered in his heart. The young man with dragon horns pondered. After a while, he nodded and said, "Okay, let's go in. Everyone, be careful. After all, this is a hibernation place that the Son of Black Water set up for himself. He might have other tricks up his sleeve." With that, he took the lead and walked toward the Black Water Mansion. Old Turtle and the burly sea general followed closely behind. After the 3 of them entered the Black Water Mansion, the water rushed over and a figure walked out of the water. It was Qin Feng. Looking at the 3 of them, Qin Feng smiled insidiously. "I'll use you to test the Son of Black Water's tricks." Sweeping his gaze over the underwater manor, Qin Feng's silhouette transformed, silently transforming into a stream of water as he entered the underwater manor. This underwater manor was extremely vast. Numerous sunflower water pillars were erected, exuding an indescribable sense of grandeur. Vermilion Palace and Shell Palace were different from the world. Gold was the roof tiles and white jade was the door pivot. Tortoiseshell shell was opened and coral beads were laid on the floor. Black water droplets dotted the radiant lotus seat, connecting the top to the top and the bottom to the 8 path. It was even more magnificent than the Dragon Palace. In the palace, Qin Feng saw some traces of powerful restrictive spells. Unfortunately, these traces were all obliterated by the passage of time. About 7 minutes later, Qin Feng caught up with the three of them. They passed through 3 layers of the palace and 8 side halls. In the main hall, the three of them were looking at the pitch-black water droplet on the main seat with fervent gazes. A trace of indescribable Taoist rhyme flowed. Not only the three of them, but also Qin Feng behind them felt his blood boiling. The blood of the true spirit. Qin Feng was shocked. He held his breath. Instinctively, he felt that it was not that simple. His clone's death was definitely not a coincidence. Sure enough, the three of them stepped forward excitedly. At this moment, the black water droplet suddenly vibrated. Boom! In Qin Feng's ears, he seemed to hear the roaring sound of the crazily rising tide. In the next moment, a black light appeared from the water droplet like the Milky Way and covered the entire hall. One of the innate primordial waters, the 9 nether black water. With a change of expression, Qin Feng's figure flashed. He used the void traversal and appeared outside the hall in an instant. The three of them in the hall were not so lucky. They were quickly drowned by the black light. Boom! 3 streams of light blocked their path. Qin Feng saw that the Dragon Crown Prince blocking in front of him was a small crystal shield. In front of Old Turtle was a huge green turtle shell. Inside the shell, there was a clear green light that resembled a vast expanse of water. The tall and sturdy sea general was the most valiant. He roared and turned into 100 feet tall sea giant. His body was glowing with water. However, it was useless. The first to be destroyed was the tall and sturdy sea general. With a scream, his body turned into black water essence and was devoured by the true spirit pearl. The second was Old Turtle. With a scream, his turtle shell was corroded like a sieve in the black water. In the next moment, he followed in the footsteps of the sea general. This scene made Qin Feng's scalp tingle. Peak martial overlords were killed by the black light in an instant. Qin Feng even saw the inner worlds of the 2 martial overlords being crushed by the black light and turned into black water essence. However, Qin Feng was too optimistic. The black light from the true spirit pearl had covered the entire hall. Although he ran out of the hall, he was still within range. In the blink of an eye, he was surrounded by layers of giant waves. Chapter 584. However, Qin Feng was still too optimistic. The black light from the real spirit pearl had shrouded the entire hall. Although he ran out of the hall, he was not out of range. In the blink of an eye, he was surrounded by layers of giant waves. It was unknown when, but traces of pitch-black moisture had appeared in the surroundings. It was like water vapor had liquefied, and water vapor had condensed. It was vast, indistinct, and boundless. It filled up and overflowed the space around him. A unique innate mystery from the creation of heaven and earth came from it. Standing in the 9 underworld black water, Qin Feng had a terrifying feeling that his real body and even his soul were about to be completely corroded and melted away. Sucking in a breath of cold air, Qin Feng's face was extremely dignified. The Star River true force rushed out of his body like a torrent, turning into a huge yellow mountain in front of him. The Earth Divine Mountain. Boom. However, the next moment, the Earth Divine Mountain with the strongest defensive ability suddenly seemed to be covered with a layer of black light. The extremely condensed Earth Yuan Qi was torn apart by the black light. The black light went straight for his real body. Slightly changing his expression, Qin Feng's Star River true force changed. The Chaos Water Calamity responded and turned into a huge whirlpool. However, this whirlpool was eroded by the black light like a small boat in a huge wave. Boom! It was instantly shattered. His supernatural powers were broken one after another, and his soul was shaken. Qin Feng frowned and thought it was troublesome. The seals in his hands changed rapidly like a lotus. The pigeon egg-sized heaven-rank crystal core in his body pulsed. The Star River true force surged from the surrounding meridians. As the seals changed, the black lotus-shaped innate inextinguishable spirit light in his dantian spat out a strange power. Buzz. A black lotus silently appeared around his body. Thousand Leaves Water God Seal. The black lotus wrapped Qin Feng. Boom. The terrifying 9 underworld black water bombarded the lotus, stirring up tens of thousands of ripples. The heavy bombardment hit the Thousand Leaves Water God lotus and transmitted to the depths of Qin Feng's real soul. Qin Feng's heart was uncomfortable, like a drum beating in his heart, and he almost vomited blood. It's so strong. Qin Feng was aghast, and hurriedly operated the art of primeval stars, operating the Star River true force to calm down the recoil. Qin Feng heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that the Thousand Leaves Water God Black Lotus was able to block the corrosion of the 9 underworlds black water, as he had expected. At this moment a sudden change occurred. The wisp of innate inextinguishable divine light that had transformed into the Thousand Leaves Water God Black Lotus seemed to have sensed something. To Qin Feng's surprise, it grew a root and plunged the root into the 9 underworlds black water. Qin Feng was slightly taken aback. In the next moment, a wave of innate mysteries that contained the power of destruction and the 9 hells surged into the depths of his soul from the lotus platform. Qin Feng couldn't help but be immersed in it, comprehending the mysteries within. Strand after strand of comprehension poured into his dantian. At the same time, an extremely pure and wondrous power surged up from the lotus platform and poured into the black water demon core. This was one of the 9 great primordial waters, the 9 underworlds black water. After obtaining this power, the black water Yao core that had already been tempered by 4/5 of the black water Yao core instantly transformed. Countless runes wrapped around the Yao core. Kacha Kacha. A layer of extreme light emerged from the depths of the core. The surroundings of the Yao core seemed to have collapsed, and the entire Yao core caved in. From the size of a quail egg, it shrunk to the size of a soybean. A layer of pitch-black divine light emerged from the depths of the core, and there seemed to be some strange innate patterns on the Yao core. Middle-grade Yao core. In his bloodline, some of the black water mystical snake clan's supernatural powers began to awaken. Many water-type supernatural powers were comprehended by Qin Feng almost instantaneously. This was the benefit of cultivating a different type of true spirit body. As long as one made a breakthrough, many supernatural powers could be mastered without much effort. Feeling that the 9 underworlds black water was being sucked away, a boundless roar sounded, and the black water shook and was instantly drawn back. Qin Feng woke up, and his face was full of regret. The 9 underworlds black water was one of the innate waters. This kind of supreme treasure was an innate item that stood side by side with the innate yin and yang qi. It contained innate mysteries and supreme Tao. If one could comprehend it, there would be many benefits. However, although it was only for a brief moment, Qin Feng managed to gain a considerable amount of insight. With a thought, a layer of dark and cold watery light appeared on the promoted Yao core. A black light appeared between Qin Feng's fingers. Drops of black liquid condensed in the void, trembling slightly and emitting a terrifying chill that could freeze and crack steel. Dark nether black water. With the help of a part of the innate black water, Qin Feng transformed the black water of single origin into the dark nether black water, which was even stronger than the dark nether black water. His expression flickered, and the black liquid condensed from the moisture began to flash with invisible, crystalline cold electricity. Xianming True Thunder. This was an extremely powerful water lightning technique. Qin Feng raised his head and saw that in the main hall, unexpectedly, the Dragon Crown Prince was not killed by the black water as he imagined. At this moment, he was captured by an invisible force and flew through the air, his face full of fear. At that moment, The black true spirit pearl transformed from the blood of true spirit emitted a spiritual brilliance that enveloped Dragon Prince. Dragon Prince's mouth was wide open, and his eyes were filled with extreme fear, but he could not make a sound. Possession. Qin Feng's expression changed. Qin Feng's face darkened, and his gaze fell on the true spirit pearl. He was determined to get that pearl. Not only did it contain the blood of true spirit of black water, but also a drop of innate black water. He had only comprehended a bit of the black water's mysteries, and his strength had increased greatly. If he could get this pearl and the innate black water, he could easily become a monster god after surviving 4 tribulations of heaven and earth, let alone becoming a monster god. Moreover, Qin Feng had clearly offended the Son of Blackwater by stealing the innate Blackwater's mysteries. Once the Son of Blackwater was reborn, he would not let Qin Feng go. Kill! Murderous intent flashed in his eyes, and the power of the void fluctuated. His body penetrated into the void like a black snake. When Qin Feng had the intention to kill, the true spirit pearl immediately sensed it, and a pitch-black brilliance tore through the void and entered it. It attacked Qin Feng from the void, trying to kill Qin Feng in the void. The surging black light locked onto him, and in the dark void, Qin Feng was secretly shocked. He's so strong. After falling for so long, he still has the strength to tear through the void. Qin Feng could do it. The Son of Blackwater was stronger than others in their prime. I can't let him come back to life, or he will be the most terrifying opponent in the competition for the water god's position. Boom! Qin Feng's eyes gleamed with sharpness. His body transformed into a spatial tempest as he melded into the darkness, evading that terrifying attack. Boom! Countless void storms were shattered, and the power of the void raged wildly. In the palace, Qin Feng's figure appeared beside Dragon Crown Prince without a sound. A clear sword light slashed towards Dragon Crown Prince. Upon seeing this, a furious roar sounded from the true spirit pearl. Bastard, you're courting death! Chapter 585. Qin Feng was going all out to snatch food from the mouth of a tiger. If one didn't advance, they would fall behind. Qin Feng knew that he might look good on the outside, but he actually had a lot of enemies, and each one was more vicious than the other. Let's not talk about the number 1 direct disciple of Xingqian school, who was rumored to have verified his Tao and become a sage. Recently, he had killed the youngest son of the Qiankuan sect's sect master. The Qiankuan sect definitely wouldn't let him off. They might have already sent experts over. I must get this true spirit pearl. Qin Feng was determined. The Son of Blackwater had a headache. He realized that Qin Feng was a rebellious descendant who betrayed his master and ancestors. He was really hard to deal with. He was proficient in the power of the void and could appear and disappear unpredictably. The Son of Blackwater was anxious to possess the body and didn't have much strength to kill Qin Feng. Depressing, angry, frustrated. At this moment, he had to protect the Dragon Prince. Although the Dragon Prince wasn't a pure Blackwater mystical snake, the Son of Blackwater could see that the Dragon Prince had great potential and had an extraordinary status. He was an excellent cauldron. The Son of Blackwater could see that although Qin Feng was only at the peak of the sea reincarnation realm, he had walked very far on the path of the Water Tao. Moreover, he smelled a strong scent of a mutated bloodline on Qin Feng. If it was possible, he actually wanted to possess Qin Feng. However, his intuition told him that Qin Feng was extremely dangerous. If he possessed Qin Feng, he would definitely die. He didn't doubt his intuition at all. Rumble! The black water blocked the Dragon Prince like a waterfall. The Son of Blackwater hastened his possession. The Dragon Prince's eyes flashed violently. He was sometimes ferocious and sometimes fearful. Although he didn't kill the Dragon Prince, fighting with an expert like the Son of Blackwater was still beneficial to Qin Feng. While he was trying his best to stop the son of black water from possessing the body, he was also trying to comprehend the profoundness of the 9 underworld black water. Rumble! A sword light went around the black water and appeared beside the dragon prince. Damn it! The son of black water was wary of attacking the rat for fear of breaking the vases. As he roared, countless black waters of the 9 underworlds transformed into rolling water thunders that broke through the air. After shattering the sword light, a vast lightning appeared in front of Qin Feng. Rumble! A black lotus appeared beneath Qin Feng's feet and enveloped him. This trick again! Son of black water gnashed his teeth in anger. If it wasn't for this black lotus, Qin Feng would have died long ago with his current power. It's a pity that my black water world has withered. Inside the true spirit pearl, there was a huge shadow of a black water mystical snake. Its eyes were extremely gloomy. Soon, a beam of black light darted out again, turning into layers of water curtains. Blackwater Xuanji Dharma World. These were the Dharma realms, mystic realms, and grotto heavens. In other words, the embryonic form of the inner world. While Qin Feng was trapped in the spell realm, his entire true spirit pearl inched toward the dragon crown prince's body inch by inch. He was ready to seize the opportunity to complete the possession. Once the possession was completed, it would be the time of Qin Feng's death. Qin Feng felt as if he had entered a huge and strange world. The sky was dark and boundless. He gathered his Galaxia true force and slashed at the void with all his might. However, the Dharma world only had a small ripple, and there was no other reaction. What a dense void energy! Qin Feng felt that the void was filled with a dense void energy. Within the void energy, there was also a huge amount of water energy, forming a special Dharma world. This huge Dharma world had exceeded the limit of a magnate. At the very least, it was at the almighty level. Only a void energy at the almighty level could trap a void manipulator like him, making it difficult for him to move. Luckily, I'm not a simple void manipulator. Qin Feng smiled and activated the universe book that he hadn't used for a long time. Although this Dharma world mainly used water energy, its foundation was the void. The universe book was a spatial treasure, and it was the nemesis of this kind of grotto heaven. A rolling suction force burst out from the universe book, forming a huge white hole around Qin Feng. The Blackwater Xuanji Dharma world's void energy was sucked away by the universe book. A huge hole appeared in the Blackwater Xuanji Dharma world. With a flash of black light, Qin Feng appeared above the Dragon Crown Prince, who had his eyes closed. At this moment, the black true spirit pearl was already above the Dragon Crown Prince's head. When the son of Blackwater saw Qin Feng appear, his snake pupils constricted. In the next moment, a vast sword ray slashed down from above like a river in the 9 heavens. The son of Blackwater wanted to dodge, but once he did, the Dragon Crown Prince would die without a doubt. He had waited 1,000,000 years for a descendant with the Blackwater mystical snake bloodline. If he gave up now, he might have to wait again. He could feel the energy outside boiling, and the Blackwater demon god's position was already empty. If he waited any longer, he might not have another chance. I can't wait any longer. He instantly made up his mind. With a furious roar, the true spirit pearl burst out with a resplendent black light. Right at this moment, Qin Feng's powerful sword light that seemed to be able to split the heavens heavily slashed onto the true spirit pearl like lightning. Crackle! The black light was sliced apart like dry wood, and the sword slashed down on the true spirit pearl. Gotcha! Under Qin Feng's astonished gaze, the true spirit pearl split into 2, large and small. The large portion took up 2/3 of the true spirit pearl, about the size of a pinky finger, and the small portion was the size of a peanut. Roar! Accompanied by a painful cry, the large portion entered the Dragon Crown Prince's body without a care. The small portion seemed to have a mind of its own and wanted to rush into the Dragon Crown Prince's body. Where do you think you're going? Qin Feng's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. A void freezing power descended to freeze the small true spirit pearl, and in the next moment, he grabbed the small portion of the true spirit pearl. At the same time, a violent aura erupted from the Dragon Crown Prince's body. His ferocious dragon eyes opened, and black light shot out like cold lightning. A trace of crimson appeared in the Dragon Crown Prince's eyes as he stared at Qin Feng. Not good, he's about to complete the possession. Qin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He couldn't beat the Dragon Crown Prince in his naked soul state. If he had a physical body, he wouldn't be able to beat him. Once the Son of Black Water completely merged with the Dragon Crown Prince's body and cultivated the body of a connate black snake, he would be able to kill him in minutes. No, it's time to run. Now that he had a portion of the true spirit blood and the 9 underworlds black water, now was the time to run. Qin Feng's eyes darted around. With a boom, Qin Feng pierced through the void and sped toward the depths of the void. Just as he was about to leave, a terrifying black light swept past. The void was eroded, revealing a terrifying black hole. A terrifying force stretched deep into the dark void, melting and disintegrating countless void storms in its path. The black light stretched for hundreds of miles. He actually pierced through the endless void with one strike. This old man is so strong. Qin Feng was aghast. He urged the Star River True Force with all his might, turning it into a void storm and sped toward the depths of the darkness. The terrifying aura chased after him for hundreds of miles before Qin Feng felt the aura weaken and disappear. Seeing Qin Feng slipping away, an incomparably violent aura rushed out from the bottom of the Black Water God residence, accompanied by a voice full of resentment and hatred. Damn little bastard, this old ancestor will remember your aura. How dare you steal my essence blood, this old ancestor will not rest until you die. The 3rd and 4th updates were released that night before 9 p.m. Chapter 586. Puff. A crack appeared in the void, and Qin Feng appeared in a panic. His breath was unstable, and he looked a little embarrassed. What a scary old man, he's so strong after recovering a little bit of his strength. Qin Feng's face darkened. If possible, even if he had to pay a huge price, he had to kill this Son of Black Water. This Son of Black Water was the former Black Water True Spirit, the Son of Black Water Devil, and one of the strongest competitors for the position of Black Water Devil. As the Son of Black Water Devil, the former Supreme of Water, he was only half a step away from the position of Supreme. Once he was free and resurrected, he would be able to attain Tao in a short period of time. Once he attained Tao, this path would be over. Qin Feng's double Tao attainment plan would be aborted. I have to speed up my growth. I have to attain Tao before this old man. Looking around, there were green mountains and clear waters. It was clear that this place was still near the Black Water Lake. Qin Feng bounced his feet and flew to the side. He had to get away from this place. Of course, more importantly, Qin Feng was going to find a place to refine the real Spirit Pearl. The real Spirit Pearl contained the purest blood of the true spirit, and even the 9 nether black water. If he could refine it, Qin Feng's black water mystical snake's strength would skyrocket in a short period of time. The entire sea spirit world was in turmoil. As more and more resentful spirits of the Sea Clan appeared, the sea spirit world was filled with the sounds of fierce battles. Some resentful spirits of the Sea Clan were destroyed. Some resentful spirits succeeded in seizing a body and hid in various places to cultivate. The undercurrent of the sea spirit world was surging. However, some of them had nothing to do with Qin Feng. 2 days later, in a cave, Qin Feng opened his eyes and frowned. The refining of the real Spirit Pearl was not as easy as he thought. This small part of the real Spirit Pearl contained a part of the soul fragments of the Son of Blackwater, and the Son of Blackwater tried his best to resist the refining. Like a stubborn stone, Qin Feng felt that with his current strength, He could not refine this half of the real spirit pearl unless he broke through the realm of martial arts magnate. After pondering for a while, Qin Feng's heart suddenly jolted. He felt that the repulsive force in the sea spirit world had suddenly increased. Silently, a black vortex appeared around him, pulling him into the vortex. This was a void vortex. It's time. Qin Feng did not resist and allowed the vortex to pull him in. As his figure turned, Qin Feng's expression changed. He changed his figure into the appearance of the dead Yu Hualong and entered the whirlpool silently. One day later, Qin Feng swaggers out of the sea-covering palace in the form of Yu Hualong. With a flash of black light, Qin Feng appeared in Cloud Lake City. He did not immediately return to the city lord's mansion. After walking around the city, he changed his appearance again at a corner. He returned to Yu Hua's appearance and appeared at a place called the White Cloud Tea House. The White Cloud Tea House's business was average, especially in the morning. There were not many people drinking tea. Qin Feng went straight to the second floor. He glanced around and felt the familiar aura. Qin Feng pushed open the door of one of the private rooms. A familiar figure appeared in front of Qin Feng. Wu Shentong. Brother Yu, you're finally here. Wu Shentong had a slight smile on his face. He seemed to have been prepared for Qin Feng's appearance. Qin Feng glanced around and nodded slightly. After an hour, Wu Shentong left with a satisfied look. Qin Feng pondered. Wu Shentong obtained the Black Tortoise True Spirit Aperture from him. Similarly, he also obtained the core of the Qian Kuan Heavenly Elephant spell from Wu Shentong. The Qian Kuan Heavenly Elephant spell was a divine skill created by Elder Xian Gui after comprehending the Xiantian 8 trigrams of Emperor Shi of the 3 ancient emperors. It was an extremely rare legendary level cultivation technique. Apart from this legendary level cultivation technique, Qin Feng only had the 9 Heavens Lightning Imperial Scripture, a legendary lightning attribute cultivation technique. However, though Black Water Righteous Art was only half a step, it could be said that Qin Feng had gained some benefits by obtaining the Qian Kuan Heavenly Elephant spell. This cultivation technique was extremely useful for Qin Feng's Black Tortoise Yin Yang Dao. With this cultivation technique, Qin Feng was confident that he would be able to cultivate the Xiantian Yin Yang diagram to the world derivation level in a short time. Of course, Wu Shentong did not lose out either. The Black Tortoise True Spirit Aperture contained the cultivation technique of 1008 Black Tortoise Xian Water Apertures. With this cultivation technique, he would be able to completely control his bloodline in a short time. He might even be able to form the Black Tortoise True Body that the Spirit Turtle clan had never seen before. The two of them obtained what they needed. However, Qin Feng still admired Wu Shentong's courage. Selling the entire clan's legacy cultivation technique was something that no faction could tolerate. Once discovered, they would probably be hunted to death. After leaving the tea house, Qin Feng's figure appeared in the city lord's mansion. The city lord's mansion was still the same. With Qin Feng's prestige, no matter if it was the remaining Li clan of the 5 great clans, the 12 noble clans, the 3 great merchant associations, or the various factions of Cloud Lake Void City, they all behaved themselves. At most, they would fight over some of the territories that the 5 great clans had vacated. In terms of changes, the greatest change was the rise of the Qin clan. Servants were as numerous as the clouds, and maids were as numerous as the rain. The remaining Qin clan disciples all received generous rewards. As a reward, Qin Feng bestowed many properties to these first-generation elders and encouraged them to have more children so that the Qin clan could have more branches and branches. These young disciples all had endless luck with women. Of course, all of this was pushed out by Qin Feng. Qin Feng now had high expectations for the maids around him, not to mention the girls from the various clans that sent themselves to him. How could he be interested in them? However, it was not good for him to not take action. What could be better than in-laws to deepen the relationship between both parties in a short period of time? Hence, these girls were all given by Qin Feng to the Mountain River City Qin clan disciples, who followed him to conquer the world for him. However, as the city lord of Cloud Lake City, the Qin clan, and even Cloud Lake City, had many things that could not be separated from him. At this moment, Qin Feng could not help but envy Yi Ding. He had many wives and concubines. These matters were all left to his wives and concubines to handle. He could run wherever he wanted. Even if he disappeared for hundreds of years, he could still ensure the city's normal operations. Qin Feng could not do it. If he disappeared for 1 or 2 years, his newly established family business might be swallowed up by others. However, Qin Feng had his own way. This time, he might as well cut out the 2 inner demons. Demon 1 would handle the government affairs for him. Demon 2 would set up a shadow squad and gather all the hooligans to form an intelligence department. The inner demons were the best at taking advantage of loopholes and manipulating people's hearts. They were experts at gathering intelligence. With the 2 inner demons, Qin Feng could finally free up his hands. Half a month later, the city lord's residence of Heavenly Cloud Lake City attracted a special guest. Senior Brother May, you're saying that the sect will be holding the successor ceremony in 2 months? There's another chapter later. Chapter 587. Looking at the handsome man in front of him, who was like a spring breeze, Qin Feng's expression was astonished. There were many factions in Xingqian school, and there were thousands of inner disciples. Senior Brother Mei Rulan was a famous power in the sect. He and the other 3 were known as the 4 gentlemen of Mei, Lan, Song, and Zhu. It was rumored that the life stars of these 4 were all wood stars. But in general, this senior brother was an inner disciple of Medicine King Hall and could be considered one of them. That's right, Junior Brother Qin Feng. According to the rules, only inner disciples who have advanced to the realm of martial arts giants are qualified to participate in the legacy ceremony. But you, Yi Ding and Shen Xiu are marquee geniuses and have special rights to participate. Mei Ruoxuan looked at the young man in black with a trace of emotion in her eyes. The battle in Sea Spirit World caused an uproar in the sect. 1 against 2, one person suppressed 2 peerless geniuses on the martial arts prodigy list, killing one and defeating the other. This kind of battle record was dazzling. But even so, Qin Feng was not considered to be a top-notch figure in this successor ceremony. It was not that Mei Ruoxuan looked down on Qin Feng. The martial arts prodigy list and the sea spirit prodigy list had records of prodigies, but these prodigies did not represent absolute strength. It only meant that they had great potential. The Xingqian school's legacy ceremony was held once every 50 years. There were quite a number of top martial arts overlords participating in the legacy ceremony this time. These martial arts giants were all existences with years of experience, running rampant and suppressing a region. Especially many of them were peerless heroes who had killed their way out of the demon battlefield. Their strength was not to be underestimated. This time, we are here under the fate of Medicine King Hall to inform Junior Brother that if you want to participate in this legacy ceremony, you need to be prepared early. But the elders mean that Junior Brother, you are still young. Maybe you can wait until you have broken through to the realm of martial arts giants before you consider. Qin Feng shook his head. After 50 years, the golden era would have begun. By then, it would be too late. Qin Feng had done some research on this legacy ceremony. It was both a crisis and an opportunity. With the identity of a true disciple, Qin Feng would be able to enter the upper management of Xingqian School in a short period of time and receive the proper training. Moreover, the identity of a true disciple was also a protective talisman. Qin Feng did not forget that Yi Ding and the number 1 true disciple behind Yi Ding had been eyeing him covetously. If Yi Ding advanced to become a true disciple first, he would definitely kill him. The path of martial arts is like rowing a boat against the current. If you don't advance, you'll fall behind. Qin Feng's eyes flashed with a sharp light. He, Qin Feng, was no longer a loner. If worse came to worst, he would just quit and become a rogue cultivator. Mei Ruoxuan smiled when she saw Qin Feng's expression. She wasn't surprised at all. Well, since Junior Marshal Brother has made up his mind, then Junior Marshal Brother should make some preparations and follow me back to Xingchen School. Mei Ruoxuan smiled faintly. Speaking of which, this is my first time in Cloud Lake City. Junior Marshal Brother Qin is indeed worthy of being the most famous conferred marquis genius in our sect. Such a troublesome city is actually managed by Junior Marshal Brother Qin. It's truly admirable. Senior Marshal Brother Mei is overpraising me. Qin Feng smiled and waved his hand to summon a female disciple. In that case, let my clansman accompany Senior Marshal Brother for a tour around Cloud Lake City. Although this Cloud Lake City is a remote place, there are some special spiritual herbs here. 2 days later, leaving behind Moe and Moer, Qin Feng and Mei Ruoxuan rushed back to the capital of stars together. It took Qin Feng several months to get to Cloud Lake City. Now, it only took Qin Feng 3 days to get to Cloud Lake City. This was because he was taking Mei Ruoxuan into consideration. If he used the void travel technique, Qin Feng would be able to rush back in 1 day. Just as they arrived at the All-Stars College, Qin Feng heard a commotion. Many young men and women suddenly raised their heads at the entrance. 100 steps away, a group of young men and women surrounded a young lady in a green dress walking over from another street. It's Shen Xiumei. Shen Xiumei is here. Is that so? It's actually Shen Xiumei. The group of young men and women looked over. The young lady's green dress made her look like a fairy in the forest. Coupled with her exquisite and beautiful face, she made people feel comfortable from the bottom of their hearts. Qin Feng stopped to take a look. With just a glance, he knew that this young lady was a reincarnated genius. Moreover, she might be one of the first-generation immemorial main stars. The primeval star throbbed violently as a desire to devour rose from the bottom of its heart. Qin Feng sensed an extremely pure aura of the wood element from the young lady. This aura was at least at the heavenly Tao realm. Qin Feng thought inwardly. She should be one of the 36 immemorial main stars, Tai star. Tai's main element is wood, the mother of all wood. Seeing Qin Feng's expression, Mei Ruoxuan glanced at the beautiful young lady in a green dress who was surrounded by the crowd and laughed. Why? Is Junior Brother interested in Junior Sister Shen Xiumei? Speaking of which, Shen Xiumei is one of the most outstanding geniuses in this batch of freshmen. She is known as the Divine Wood Princess. She is also this batch's Azure Dragon College's first seat. Qin Feng's eyes flickered. Shen Xiumei was already a Sea Revolution realm martial artist. Although she was only at the initial stage of the Sea Revolution realm, a Sea Revolution realm freshman's first seat was absolutely shocking. It was breathtaking. In Qin Feng's batch, even Meridian's condensation realm martial artists were rarely seen, let alone the exaggerated Sea Revolution realm. It seems like the golden era is about to begin. Geniuses are as common as the clouds and as common as the rain. Qin Feng felt like he didn't have enough time for the first time. Competing with such geniuses was truly an extremely stressful matter. Mei Ruoxuan sighed softly. Not only is this princess extremely powerful, but her attainments in alchemy are also shocking. She is already a Tier 2 alchemist. Qin Feng was secretly shocked. He was able to become a Tier 4 alchemist at such a young age because of his previous life's accumulation. This young lady was able to reach this stage with her own effort. This was simply unheard of, Qin Feng said. That means this batch of freshmen is the Azure Dragon College's leading. Mei Ruoxuan shook his head. Junior Brother, you are far away in Cloud Lake City and overseeing a region. You don't know much about the All-Stars College's situation. I don't know what is going on this year. Our All-Stars College is filled with monsters. There are a lot of Meridian's Condensation Realm freshmen and Void Mystical Realm freshmen. Even Shen Xiumei, who is a Sea Revolution Realm genius, isn't the only one. His eyes had a trace of bitterness. Qin Feng had the same feeling in his heart. So many geniuses were erupting like a well. It was shocking, depressing. Competing with such talented geniuses was destined to be a battle with no chance of winning. Especially the feeling of being overtaken and overtaken. It wasn't a good feeling. The four gentlemen of Plum, Orchid, Pine, and Bamboo were rather famous among the inner sect disciples. However, when facing such a monstrous genius like Shen Xiumei, it was almost certain that they would be overtaken. Even if it was Qin Feng, he also felt an enormous pressure. Chapter 588. Junior Sister Shin, do you want to enter the Greenwood Temple to cultivate? I have some points and contribution points here. If you need them, I can lend them to you first. The Greenwood Temple was one of the 9 temples of All Stars College. It contained many mysterious techniques and even secrets of concepts and profundities. Martial artists could cultivate with half the effort. This was a noble youth in purple. He wore a purple python robe and a purple gold crown on his head. He looked very noble. His cultivation was considered outstanding among his peers. He was at the 2nd stage of the Meridian Condensation stage. No matter which family he was in, he would be considered a genius among his peers. No need. Thank you, Senior Brother Wenhong. Shen Xiumei rejected the youth indifferently. The youth in purple's handsome face turned ugly, but he quickly concealed it. Seeing the youth in purple suffer, the other youth sneered. Junior Brother Wen, aren't you underestimating Junior Sister Shen by doing this? Do you think Junior Sister Shen is like you? You claim to be the strongest donator in the last batch and even competed with the head of the academy. But compared to the head of the academy, you are really TSK. He clicked his tongue with a hint of sarcasm. A trace of redness flashed across the purple-clothed youth's face as he retorted sarcastically. Yang Qing, don't be so smug. You were the first seat of the previous year, but you were still defeated and disgraced. Then, he sneered. Besides, that first seat is nothing compared to this year's junior sister Shin Xiumei, junior brother Duan Yu, junior brother Jiang Taichu, and junior sister Qin Honglian. He'll be overtaken and trampled under their feet sooner or later. Mei Ruoxuan frowned. Her eyes flashed with displeasure, and she was about to attack. Qin Feng waved his hands. His gaze landed on the purple-robed young man as traces of a smile could be seen in his eyes. This was an old acquaintance of his. He was known as the strongest donor among the many donors. Wenhong, Cloud Water Empire's little prince. When he first entered the Azure Dragon College, Wenhong swore to the heavens that he would kick Qin Feng out of the Azure Dragon College's first seat. Unfortunately, this person's results in the first level's assessment were barely satisfactory. He didn't even enter the top 10, let alone first place. His face had been thrown all the way to his grandmother's house. At that time, Qin Feng had regarded him as a threat. But now it was as if nothing had happened. The other was White Tiger Academy's first seat Yang Qing, one of the 4 first seats of the Academy's new students like Qin Feng. However, during the first test, his position as the chief seat was taken away by Qi Ling. At that moment, Yang Qing was already a Meridian Condensation 5th Secret Realm elite. Unfortunately, the distance between them had already been pulled apart. Whether it was Qin Feng, Ji Huanger, or even Qian Kai, they all left him far behind. At this moment, this once dazzling first seat had been reduced to an ordinary person. On the side, some young men and women with powerful auras coldly watched the two of them quarrel with disdainful sneers. Both of them were has-been geniuses. Shen Xiumei was not someone people like them could touch. Shin Xiumei was not someone they could touch. Well said. At this moment, a slightly clear voice sounded. Hearing this voice, the group of youths turned around. After just one glance, their expressions changed, and their eyes were filled with reverence. It's Black Tortoise's first seat, Jiang Taichu. It's him? Jiang Taichu, one of the 4 monstrous geniuses this year. I heard that he's the reincarnation of a supreme being. He started cultivating at the age of 3, reached the peak of the 13th stage of the martial path at the age of 6, broke through to the meridian condensation realm at the age of 9, and broke through to the sea of reincarnation realm at the age of 12. He's a monstrous genius that only appears once every 10,000 years. Now, it's said that he's already touched the origin, and is not far from the Overlord realm. That's him. He's known as the strongest genius in the history of All Stars College. Even many powerful people in Xingqian School think highly of him. They think that he has the talent of a god. Oh my god, it's really him. I heard that the sect has already given him the status of an inner disciple. As long as he wants, the sect can give him the status of a reserved true disciple at any time. Although this reserved true disciple status doesn't have the title of a marquis, it's almost the same in terms of power. It's true, but he rejected it personally. He even said that he wanted the position of a true disciple. It's obvious that he doesn't care about a reserved true disciple. Marquis. While the geniuses were talking, a path opened up. A valiant youth appeared, standing tall and straight like a sword. He had straight black hair, sword-like eyebrows, slender black eyes, thin and lightly pursed lips, and an angular face. He was tall and slender but not boorish. He was like an eagle in the night. He was cold and arrogant, but also aggressive. He was alone and exuded a domineering aura that looked down on the world. His domineering eyes scanned the surroundings as if they were invasive. Wherever he passed, many geniuses, even those in the miraculous void realm, couldn't help but feel their hearts skip a beat and lower their heads. The corner of his mouth curved into a disdainful arc as he smiled proudly. As the saying goes, the new generation excels the old. Those marquis geniuses are nothing in front of people like us. Even those true disciples will be trampled under our feet sooner or later. We were born extraordinary. Hearing this, a disciple on the side stood out and said, Junior brother Jiang, be careful with your words. The disciples of the various sects are able to achieve their current status not only because of their cultivation but also because of their contributions to the sect. This can't be erased with just a few words. Hearing this, many students nodded. Xingqian School was able to achieve its current status because of the many disciples who didn't care about their lives. Not all of the disciples were geniuses. There were also ordinary disciples. They couldn't be disrespectful to them just because of their strength. After all, if it wasn't for them, how could Xingqian School and All Stars College prosper? Jiang Taichu suddenly turned around and shot a white light from his eyes. The disciple who spoke was instantly sent flying and vomited a mouthful of blood. That disciple was shocked and angry as he looked up at Jiang Taichu. You dare to fight in the school? Jiang Taichu smiled coldly. You're rude and don't know your place. You should be taught a lesson. He glanced at the surrounding students and sneered. At the same time, let me tell you a truth. A sect isn't supported by trash like you. No matter how many trash there are, they can't withstand my finger. Many students kept quiet out of fear. Even Yang Qing and Wen Hong, who were proud and arrogant, didn't dare to say a word. Shen Xiumei looked at this scene coldly with an indifferent expression. Mei Ruoxuan didn't look happy as he walked forward. Junior brother, you're fighting in All Stars College. Isn't it a little inappropriate? Seeing Mei Ruoxuan appear, Jiang Taichu's expression changed slightly. He glanced at Mei Ruoxuan and revealed a trace of disdain. He could tell that Mei Ruoxuan should be an inner disciple of Xingqian School. However, He didn't care about such an inner disciple. It wasn't like he hadn't defeated an expert at the peak of the Sea of Reincarnation realm. An expert at the peak of the Sea of Reincarnation realm. Are you here to teach me a lesson? Forgive me for being blunt, but with your cultivation, you don't have the qualifications to teach me a lesson. Mei Ruoxuan's expression froze, and a trace of anger surged in his heart. His original intention was to persuade Jiang Taichu and leave some leeway in his words. However, he didn't expect Jiang Taichu to not give him any face. This Jiang Taichu was too arrogant and condescending. Chapter 589. Mei Ruoxuan is at a disadvantage. Seeing that Jiang Taichu was targeting Mei Ruoxuan, Qin Feng knew that Mei Ruoxuan was at a disadvantage. Although Jiang Taichu was young, the aura he emitted was indeed at the peak of the Sea Revolution realm. Moreover, what he comprehended was the most peculiar light attribute origin. The light attribute origin was one of the high-grade origin sources, and it was not weaker than the origin sources of some subkings. Moreover, there was a trace of innate aura. The 5 manifestations of Khanate were absolute beginning, absolute simplicity, absolute beginning, absolute simplicity, and absolute ultimate. These 5 types of innate energy were extremely majestic. Even among the normal innate essence energy, they were also very powerful. Although Mei Ruoxuan was a martial artist at the peak of the Sea Revolution realm, what he comprehended was the wood attribute origin. The wood attribute origin was one of the low-grade origin sources, and it was not outstanding in terms of combat power. After comparing the two, the result was out. Boom. As expected, Mei Ruoxuan couldn't help but stop. The result was also within Qin Feng's expectations. Their auras collided, and in just a breath, Mei Ruoxuan was forced to retreat 3 steps. Mei Ruoxuan's handsome face was completely red. Anyone with a little bit of insight would know that he was at a disadvantage. How could he accept being defeated by Jiang Taichu, a junior martial brother of the younger generation? At this moment, Jiang Taichu didn't stop and instead added fuel to the fire. Looking at your appearance, you should be an inner disciple of Xingqian school. Your cultivation is not good, but you still want to stand out and puff yourself up at your own cost. Clearly, you are not doing your job properly. Go back and cultivate for a few more years. Otherwise, you will only embarrass Xingqian school. Jiang Taichu's eyes were filled with disdain. His lecturing tone was a blatant slap to the face. Mei Ruoxuan's face was blood-red. The gazes of the All-Stars College fell on him, and he was so angry that his body trembled. At the side, Qin Feng shook his head. Mei Ruoxuan had good intentions, but he had misjudged the character of a genius like Jiang Taichu. A person like Jiang Taichu was like a young and inexperienced greenhorn. Relying on his talent, he could be said to be arrogant and condescending. He had already developed a self-centered personality. In his eyes, how could he distinguish whether others had good intentions or bad intentions? As long as he was slightly unhappy or not, he would be an enemy. Seeing that Mei Ruoxuan was still at a disadvantage, Qin Feng shook his head. This Mei Ruoxian was still a member of the Medicine King Hall, and he could also be considered a member of the Medicine King Hall. He definitely could not let this senior brother who was closer to him suffer a loss. At this moment, Jiang Taichu sneered, and a vast and unparalleled white holy brilliance swept out like a tide, directly enveloping Mei Ruoxuan. Mei Ruoxuan sensed an irresistible surge of light, as if the sky had been opened at the beginning of time. It's the light origin source. It's Jiang Taichu's famous luminous absolute beginning divine light. An expert from All Stars College shouted. The light of absolute beginning divine light was Jiang Taichu's famous divine light. It could turn the universe into light and light into absolute beginning. One strike was enough to injure a martial arts magnate and shatter their natal grotto heaven. Mei Ruoxuan's face was ghastly pale. He felt that he had almost no power to resist the enormous divine light in his eyes. His expression was shaken. A trace of anger and humiliation surged in his eyes. Under this divine light, the spring-plumb true power in his body almost collapsed inch by inch. A huge pressure descended on him. His legs could not help but buckle, and he was about to kneel. Jiang Taichu's strike was not to kill him, but to humiliate him. He saw the sinister smile on Jiang Taichu's face. This was clearly to step on his head to establish his authority. Mei Ruoxuan tried his best to resist, but it was to no avail. The flames of humiliation in his eyes condensed into substance, and there was also a trace of despair. If he was here, his life would be over. All his future would be lost on this kneel. He was a direct disciple of the Medicine King lineage of Xingqian school. If he suffered such humiliation, the Medicine King lineage would also be humiliated and become a laughingstock. He had already closed his eyes. However, in the next moment there was a burst of exclamations. The expected scene did not happen, and the pressure on him disappeared. A black-robed figure appeared in front of him without him noticing. The black and white yin-yang divine diagram rolled and blocked the white light that could shatter the universe and turn it into infinite light. His tone was difficult. "Junior brother." Mei Ruoxuan's gratitude was indescribable. Qin Feng nodded. The innate yin-yang divine diagram silently swallowed the light of absolute beginning. Qin Feng vaguely felt a bit of pure innate absolute beginning aura from it. Innate absolute beginning power. It seems that this Jiang Taichu is most likely the lord of primordial stars that was born from the absolute beginning star. He was secretly shocked and looked up at Jiang Taichu. Qin Feng said, "Junior brother Jiang, why do you have to destroy someone's future?" Qin Feng. "It's the previous Azure Dragon Institute's first seat." Qin Feng. Qin Feng, is he the legendary Qin Feng who stole countless spirit wines from the apes' sacred mountain and is first on the hidden dragon ranking? Didn't he go to his fief? Why is he back? It's him. I know him. He's a marquis genius, the chief alchemist of the Medicine King Hall. Everyone looked at the black-clothed young man in shock. Among the crowd, there were a few who looked unnatural. For example, Wen Hong, Yu Hong, and Ao Fang, who had been watching the show. Xin Xiumei looked up and her limpid eyes fell on Qin Feng. She was quite curious about the previous Azure Dragon Institute's first seat. "You're Qin Feng." Jiang Taichu sized up Qin Feng, who had suddenly appeared. He called out Qin Feng's name directly. Obviously, he had some enmity towards Qin Feng. "I heard that you're this year's Marquis Genius, and have been conferred the title of First Marquis. This should be the reason why you're standing up for this inner disciple. But let me tell you, you'd better keep your lecturing face to me. You so-called Marquis geniuses and true disciples are nothing in my eyes." With his hands behind his back, he strode over. The corners of his mouth curled up into a sharp, blade-like arc. "However, you're an even better stepping stone. Defeating you and making you kneel here might be more important." He didn't think much of Qin Feng and wanted to use Qin Feng as a stepping stone. Not only did he want to step on Qin Feng's head and climb up, but he also wanted to make Qin Feng kneel here and ruin his reputation. At the entrance of All Stars College, many students were shocked by Jiang Taichu's words. Is this Jiang Taichu crazy? He actually wants to challenge senior brother Qin Feng. Senior brother Qin Feng is a marquis genius. I'm afraid not. He really wants to challenge Qin Feng this time. He's bold but careful. Think about what kind of person senior brother Qin Feng is. He's a marquis genius personally conferred by the sect. If he can defeat senior brother Qin Feng, wouldn't that prove that he's stronger than senior brother Qin Feng? This way, he'll reach the heavens in a single bound. He might even be taken in by the sect master or the 28 peak masters. Chapter 590. Many of the All-Stars College's geniuses glanced at Qin Feng and Jiang Taichu. This is going to be a good show. Qin Feng was originally a famous figure in All-Stars College and was in the limelight for a while. However, with the rise of Jiang Taichu and the others, Qin Feng's original battle record became a little ordinary. Jiang Taichu was surrounded by too many halos, especially his cultivation talent, which allowed him to reach the Sea of Reincarnation Realm at the age of 12. The Sea of Reincarnation Realm was a true big shot. Some of the old ancestors of the 1,000-year-old families were only at this level. With such aptitude, Qin Feng's battle achievements instantly paled in comparison to him. Many people believed that if Jiang Taichu had entered All-Stars College a year earlier, there would definitely be a place for Jiang Taichu among the three marquises. Regarding this, Jiang Taichu also thought so. He had absolute confidence that he would definitely win against Qin Feng. You want to use me as a stepping stone to establish your power? You've got the wrong idea. Qin Feng couldn't help but laugh. Qin Feng's gaze landed on Jiang Taichu. With a thought, a vast galaxy rose from his body and appeared in the eyes of the All-Stars College's geniuses. Rumble! It was like a boundless galaxy formed by stars. The mighty origin star true force was far beyond imagination. Many of the geniuses were forced to retreat by the enormous force. What a tyrannical force! A new batch of geniuses exclaimed softly. Shen Xiumei said softly. As expected of a marquis genius. Just the quality of the true force in his body is already comparable to a martial arts overlord. Jiang Taichu sneered. Use your trump card. I know you're proficient in a few great abilities, especially the legendary Chaos Fire great ability. I'm giving you a chance. If you don't use that ability, you won't have another chance. His tone was arrogant, and he was certain that he had Qin Feng under control. Rumble! A hazy white divine radiance erupted from his body. Vaguely, a pure kingdom of light that descended from the beginning of the world appeared. The magnificent brilliance bombarded Qin Feng's galaxy true power. The galaxy true power crumbled inch by inch as it was shattered by the bright absolute beginning divine light. The absolute beginning divine light then transformed into an even purer bright absolute beginning power that swept towards Qin Feng. When Mei Ruoxuan saw this scene, her expression changed drastically as she reminded him. Junior brother, be careful of his luminous grand primordium divine light. His luminous grand primordium divine light has the ability to convert any yuan qi into luminous grand primordium power. It's very difficult to deal with. It's the light power of absolute beginning. Brother Qin Feng is in trouble. Jiang Taichu is known as the son of the absolute beginning. His absolute beginning light force is the most terrifying. He already has a trace of the Xiantian absolute beginning force and the Xiantian light force. This kind of force is even more tyrannical than the heaven and earth source true force of the martial path. It is said to be able to purify all origin qi. If an ordinary Sea Revolution realm cultivator were to meet him, their true force would be the first to crumble under this force. The luminous grand primordium divine light force is truly terrifying. It can purify all yuan qi. Just thinking about it is enough to make one's scalp tingle. The faces of many geniuses changed drastically. Don't worry. His innate absolute beginning divine light force is refined from the source of light. Light and darkness are considered the two extremes of yin and yang. I'm in control of the innate yin and yang force. How can the luminous grand primordium divine light force hurt me? Qin Feng chuckled softly, and with a shift of his thought, the luminous absolute beginning divine light that was devoured by the luminous absolute beginning divine light transformed into the purest innate yin-yang divine picture. Like a ferocious tiger, the luminous absolute beginning divine light was devoured by the luminous absolute beginning divine light and turned into a huge yin-yang divine picture that trapped Jiang Taichu. How can this be? Many of the All-Stars College's geniuses were dumbfounded. Brother Qin Feng's luminous grand primordium divine light force is actually unable to purify Jiang Taichu's luminous grand primordium divine light force instead. The group of geniuses' jaws dropped to the ground. The quality of this senior brother Qin Feng's true force is even higher than Jiang Taichu's. Moreover, this senior brother Qin Feng seems to have comprehended the innate yin-yang force. That's why Jiang Taichu can't unleash his full strength. Shen Xiumei saw through the essence of the situation with a single glance. But because of this, her heart trembled even more. Others might not know, but how could she not know that Jiang Taichu's luminous grand primordium divine light force was at the 5th level of heavenly Daos and above? The innate yin-yang divine picture turned into a huge heaven and earth. Under Qin Feng's control, the 2 innate yin-yang qi turned into 2 innate yin-yang saint dragons that coiled around Jiang Taichu. Jiang Taichu's face was filled with anger and the luminous grand primordium divine light force burst out from his body. But as soon as the luminous grand primordium divine light force came into contact with the innate yin-yang divine picture, the luminous grand primordium divine light force was immediately devoured. After obtaining the Qian Kuan Heavenly Elephant's art and the true Qian Kuan martial arts art's incomplete art, Qin Feng's understanding of the innate yin-yang qi grew by leaps and bounds. In Qin Feng's hands, the innate yin-yang qi's power grew stronger day by day. At this moment, let alone a mere Jiang Taichu, even if a magnate who had fully comprehended the radiance origin source and opened up the radiance world or the radiance paradise was here, Qin Feng would still be able to restrain him or even crush his paradise. Jiang Taichu took out a jade disc that emitted a pure white radiance. The luminous compass. It was a light element false true treasure. The luminous compass shot out 8 rays of pure white light that blocked in front of Jiang Taichu, forming an invisible light barrier. What a valuable asset! What a pity! Qin Feng thought, and the innate yin-yang divine light force turned into a pair of scissors. Kacha, the luminous compass shattered into pieces. If it weren't for Qin Feng, Jiang Taichu would have been killed by this attack. Damn it, Qin Feng, how did you learn such a heretical skill? Jiang Taichu roared in anger. His eyes were bloodshot as if he wanted to devour Qin Feng alive. Watching the treasure in his hand being destroyed, Jiang Taichu's face turned pale with anger. But more than that, he felt humiliated and resentful. What a fool! Since when did the purest yin-yang qi become a heretical skill in your mouth? Qin Feng smiled indifferently. Looks like you're used to being arrogant. You're too naive. Do you think that you can win just because you've investigated me? Initially, I didn't want to argue with you, but since you've set your sights on me, I'll have to teach you a lesson. Qin Feng couldn't be bothered to deal with this arrogant brat. A trace of pity flashed across his eyes as he couldn't kill Jiang Taichu because of the sex rules. Otherwise, with the innate yin-yang divine light force, Jiang Taichu wouldn't even be left of him. He pondered for a moment, and in the next moment, a cold sneer appeared in his eyes. He might be spared from death, but he must be punished. With the innate yin-yang divine light force enveloping Jiang Taichu, Qin Feng's 10 fingers moved rapidly and a vast and primordial power rose from the ground. One. His hand seals shook the void and vaguely stirred up a wisp of primeval qi in the void. That wisp of primeval qi in Qin Feng's palm gradually transformed into light, darkness, and black. At the same time, the innate yin-yang divine light force also began to change. Under the shocked gazes of the All-Stars College's geniuses, it turned into a sun and a moon, yin and yang. There were 2 ancient runes in the sun and moon, one representing the light of absolute beginning, and the other representing the darkness of absolute beginning. Chaotic Light and Darkness Seal. Chapter 591. 2 streams of light and darkness intertwined. As Jiang Taichu roared, they sank into his clothes and skin inch by inch. Finally, They absorbed all the light power in Jiang Taichu's body and turned into a black and white diamond-shaped crystal core. As the seal was completed, Jiang Taichu was stunned on the spot. The next moment, he stared at Qin Feng crazily. "What did you do to me?" Qin Feng sneered, took a step forward, and slapped Jiang Taichu hard, sending him flying back 10 feet. Jiang Taichu spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face quickly swelled up. Lying on the ground, Jiang Taichu stared at Qin Feng in disbelief. "You dare to hit me?" Many All-Stars College geniuses looked at this scene in a daze. Qin Feng's means were beyond imagination. It was one-sided. One move. It was only one move. Previously, he easily suppressed Mei Ruoxuan and made Jiang Taichu, who was like a demon god, suffer a fate worse than death. Not only was his cultivation sealed like a dead dog, but he was also sent flying by a slap to the face. Being humiliated like this might leave a shadow in his heart and turn him into a cripple. Seeing Jiang Taichu's expression that wanted to swallow him alive, Qin Feng's killing intent surged. "Of course I'm going to hit you. You dare to use me as a stepping stone. This is an irreconcilable enmity. If you weren't listed in the sect, I wouldn't be able to forgive you even if I cut you into pieces." Qin Feng walked forward step by step with a sneer on his face. He could avoid death, but he couldn't be forgiven. A hand suddenly appeared above Jiang Taichu's head. A speck of starlight came out from the depths of his true soul, and in the next moment, it formed a huge star. This star seemed to be born from ancient times. It had a primitive and grand aura that shook the endless void. The primeval star. When Qin Feng mobilized the primeval star, Jiang Taichu suddenly felt a sense of fear in his resentment. It was as if he had met his natural enemy. Even though Jiang Taichu was not afraid of anything, he still felt a sense of panic. Qin Feng sneered. Jiang Taichu had delivered himself to him. Although it couldn't kill Jiang Taichu, it wouldn't be a problem to devour his fate chart. An extremely dense starlight was extracted from Jiang Taichu's body and merged into the origin star. After swallowing the starlight, the entire primeval star shone brightly. Countless experts noticed that a star suddenly erupted with extremely bright brilliance. For a moment it even overshadowed the sun. At the same time, a star in the horizon suddenly dimmed. Black light pervaded the air, and it was on the verge of extinction, just as the stars in the sky dimmed. Within the core 99 domains, countless experts had strange looks in their eyes. The absolute beginning star has fallen, and the primeval star has flourished. This is the first time a main star has fallen. The main star has fallen. The main star is unknown. A calamity is coming. As we all know, most of the stars are dominated by the sun and the moon, the crepe myrtle. This Yuan sure has surpassed the crepe myrtle. I'm afraid there will be a battle in the future. A storm is coming, a storm is coming, a world of great strife, an eventful time. The undercurrents of many great forces were surging. Xingqian School. On one of the 28 peaks, a figure gazed at the eternal starry sky with a puzzled look on his face. The absolute beginning star. Isn't that Jiang Taichu? Isn't he at All Stars College? How could his fated star have fallen for no reason? Behind him, an old man with snow-white hair and a crane complexion said, "Senior brother sect master, do you need me to go to All Stars College?" Another woman asked. "Yes, senior brother. This immemorial main star is a first-generation star. It has the richest providence. It's different from second-generation stars and third-generation stars. It involves the sect's overall situation. It's no small matter." The hazy figure didn't say anything. His gaze pierced through the endless void and landed on the mountain-like city. A moment later, his gaze fell on All Stars College in the center. He seemed to have seen Qin Feng and Jiang Taichu lying on the ground. Many scenes flashed through his eyes. After a moment, he withdrew his gaze. What a pity! This is fate. The 36 main stars are destined to fight to the death. They will devour each other, unless they cut off time, transcend fate, and jump out of the fence. That little guy reincarnated from the primeval star is really lucky. If this generation's Star Lord grows up, it won't be difficult for him to become a martial sage. Fortunately, wastewater doesn't fall into the hands of outsiders. Although he said this, the hazy figure still couldn't help but feel a sense of pity. Sighing in his heart, the hazy figure waved his hand. I already know the ins and outs of this matter. This was an accident. After a moment of silence, he spoke again. In addition, instruct all the reincarnated disciples to be temporarily sent to various places. They must ensure that there can only be one reincarnated disciple from a first-generation star in each place. Hearing this, the other two figures were secretly shocked. After a moment, they nodded. Yes, senior brother. I'll go and instruct them to reduce contact with these little guys before they completely grow up. Right, send that disciple called Qin Feng to the savage battlefield. The snow-haired and crane-faced utmost exalted elder was slightly shocked. From the tone of his headmaster's senior, there was a bit of dissatisfaction towards this disciple called Qin Feng. He replied softly. Recently, the Golden Crow clan has slightly invaded. The situation on the Golden Crow battlefield is not optimistic. Many villages are under great pressure. Just as well, the Peach Blossom Village's village chief died in battle last time. This time, we'll send Qin Feng to the Peach Blossom Village to take over the position of the village chief and guard the Golden Crow battlefield. You can make the decision on these matters. What our sects should be most concerned about is the birth of the Second Sea Spirit Continent. The Second Sea Spirit Continent contains the sea god's position of the ancient sea god. This is the first demon god's position that has been born. All sects should be sharpening their swords. Speaking of the demon god position, the aura of the two grand elders fluctuated rapidly. It's just a pity that our disciples didn't bring back the sea god's relic this time. This has caused our Xingqian school to be in a passive position. If we want to enter the sea god palace, we have to find other ways and even give up some benefits. At the entrance of All Stars College, after devouring Jiang Taichu's absolute beginning star, Qin Feng's aura changed significantly. At this time, the profound meaning of absolute beginning surged in his eyes. An extremely mysterious innate absolute beginning power flowed out from the primeval star and into his body. With this power, Qin Feng's extreme grade third layer galaxy true force instantly evolved into yin and yang, fusing with the absolute beginning and turning into chaos. After a few transformations, it was as if he had broken through a bottleneck. The galaxy true force gave birth to an aura of absolute beginning. A mystical power was born. Qin Feng's eyes shone with brilliance. His entire body was shrouded in a hazy divine splendor. Countless divine lights surged behind him, giving birth to a vast primeval world. It was as if the absolute beginning had descended. Extreme grade fourth layer. After obtaining a trace of the absolute beginning star's origin, Qin Feng's galaxy true force improved further, reaching the extreme grade fourth layer. This kind of power was already comparable to the ancient sun of heaven. A vast and mighty light gushed out from the 48,000 pores on Qin Feng's body. Qin Feng's galaxy true force circulated, and in an instant, it turned into the purest power of light. It was even clearer than Jiang Taichu's absolute beginning light. The boundless void was turned into light, and it was as if a kingdom of light was directly opened in the void. This terrifying method made the faces of the All Stars College's geniuses change drastically. Especially Shen Xiumei, she felt an extreme sense of unease. As the Star Lord of Extreme Unity, one of the 36 main stars, she knew better than anyone what Qin Feng had done. Fourth update. Chapter 592. Everything beautiful was just yesterday's intoxication. Today's bitter taste was the taste of today. This was the true portrayal of Jiang Taichu. He had lost all his face and was living a life worse than death. His hatred for Qin Feng had reached a peak. If possible, he was willing to die together with Qin Feng immediately. He had never experienced such a great defeat before. Throughout his journey, he had been victorious in every battle. He had always been riding on the heads of others. When had he ever been humiliated like this? What made Jiang Taichu most uneasy was Qin Feng's strange seal at the end. He felt as if the most important thing in his body had been taken away. His heart was empty and he was like a walking corpse. It was as if he had fallen from the top of the clouds. Serves you right, you little bastard. You deserve this. If I don't properly deal with you, how can I be worthy of what you have given me before? On the side, Mei Ruoxian's eyes were indescribably carefree. He was originally a good person, but Jiang Taichu's actions had completely infuriated him. Cutting off one's future was like killing one's parent. They were absolutely irreconcilable. He turned around and looked at Qin Feng, who was close at hand, with a hint of eagerness on his face. Previously, Jiang Taichu was so arrogant that he almost had no power to resist. However, the person in front of him had easily suppressed him with a raise of his hand. Such strength was not inferior to that of an ordinary true disciple. Junior brother, thank you for making a move this time. Otherwise, I might have suffered a great loss today. Mei Ruoxian was quite polite. Qin Feng smiled. Senior brother, you are too polite. This is a matter of course. Senior brother has guarded one side of the Xingchen school and made great contributions. How can you be humiliated by a madman like Jiang Taichu? This is really unexpected. He was defeated in one move. It seems that everyone has underestimated Chief Qin Feng. I didn't expect this Azure Dragon Chief to be so strong. On the side, many gazes fell on Jiang Taichu. Many geniuses were gloating. Jiang Taichu had always been domineering and arrogant in All Stars College. He had long been unpopular, but they did not dare to say anything. This time, Jiang Taichu had suffered a big setback. However, the happiest one was not Qin Feng, but them. Junior brother Qin Feng. At this moment, a surprised voice sounded. Qin Feng turned around and saw two girls walking out of All Stars College's entrance. One of them looked at him in surprise. This young girl was dressed in white, and she was as ethereal and light as a fairy. Senior sister Baiyun. Qin Feng nodded. A fragrant wind blew, and the jade ornaments jingled. White clouds swirled in her beautiful eyes, revealing a hint of joy. Junior brother, could it be that you've rushed back from Cloud Lake City to participate in the successor ceremony? Her beautiful eyes scanned the surroundings and landed on Jiang Taichu. With her intelligence, she instantly understood what had happened. She looked at Qin Feng with concern. Jiang Taichu was this year's All Stars College's peerless genius. Even some outer disciples were no match for this new genius. After seeing that Qin Feng was fine, she immediately heaved a sigh of relief. However, she was shocked in her heart. Junior brother has become stronger again. At the side, a cold and elegant young girl in a black dress looked at Qin Feng with a complicated expression. Junior brother Qin Feng. The young girl's cold and elegant appearance carried a pure charm that moved one's heart. Yunmo. Qin Feng nodded. It was like a nodding acquaintance. Yunmo's cold and elegant face turned pale. She could clearly feel Qin Feng's indifference towards her. Her jade-like hand gripped the sword in her hand tightly. At that moment, she had a trace of understanding in her heart. Ever since the misunderstanding at Scarlet Sky Peak, the misunderstanding between them might never have the chance to be cleared up. Just as he was about to speak, Qin Feng's heart suddenly moved. He saw a man and a woman appear at the end of the street. Seeing the extremely familiar figure in red, Qin Feng's eyes revealed a trace of a smile. However, when his gaze fell on the rather intimate purple-clothed handsome young man beside the young girl, his face gradually turned cold. Swoosh swoosh. Mei Ruoxuan, Bai Yun, and Yunemo could clearly feel a chill rising from Qin Feng's body. Someone noticed the two figures and let out a cry of surprise. It's one of the 5 monstrous geniuses this year, the Vermilion Bird's first seat, Qin Honglian. Is it the Blood Monarch? Yes, it's her. She is one of the 5 monstrous geniuses along with Jiang Taichu, Shen Xiumei, Duan Yu, and Bai Ruofei. It is said that she comprehended the power source of a martial Tao overlord when she was in the mysterious Void Realm. Her blood source is extremely terrifying and has already transformed into a nirvana phenomenon. On the day of her awakening, a blood river soared into the sky and turned the world into a sea of blood. That day, a supreme sage descended directly and wanted to take her as his personal disciple. Not only is she a monstrous talent, but she is also extremely beautiful. She is the most beautiful girl in all Stars College, and has countless admirers. Most of the geniuses on the All Stars College's stellar list have expressed their admiration for her. There are even inner disciples and true disciples of Xingqian School who are tempted. The group of All Stars College's geniuses at the side discussed animatedly. Their expressions changed when they saw the two figures. Many of the young men were excited and their eyes revealed admiration. Listening to the discussions around him, Qin Feng's expression changed, and he thought to himself, "The miraculous Void Realm? How could this be? Wasn't she just at the level 4 of the martial path a few months ago? How could she have crossed so many realms? Could it be that the Bloody Queen has awakened?" Qin Feng frowned. He also noticed that Red Lotus's appearance had changed. In the past, Red Lotus could be considered beautiful, but the birthmark on her face ruined her beauty. But now, not only was the birthmark on Red Lotus's face gone, but she was also emitting an astonishing charm. This kind of beauty was the most beautiful in the world. It was as if she was the spirit of heaven and earth, and was created by nature. She had already grown. She had extremely hot curves, an extremely cold and elegant face, and the domineering demon-like temperament of the Bloody Queen. Noble, cold, and domineering. Probably because of her experience in the Qin family, there was still a trace of gentleness in her beautiful eyes. She was simply captivating. This change was not something that could be described with words like an ugly duckling turning into a white swan. When they saw the red-clothed girl, even beautiful women like Bai Yun and Yunemo, and even the beautiful Shen Xiumei couldn't help but be overshadowed. They felt ashamed of their own appearance. How can heaven and earth love this girl so much? It's not fair. It's too unfair. Many of the beautiful girls were extremely jealous. The moment the girl in red appeared, she immediately became the focus of attention on the street. Whether it was the passers-by or the young men and women who walked out of All Stars College, even some of the older ancient martial art practitioners, they couldn't help but look at the girl in red with a bit of passion. Bang! Some ancient martial art practitioners didn't pay attention to where they were walking and crashed into the wall with a loud bang. They were dizzy and disoriented. On the entire street, an invisible wave of heat was rising. On the side, the handsome man in purple saw this scene and felt even more proud. At this moment, the girl in red stopped in her tracks. In her beautiful eyes, a familiar figure suddenly appeared. Chapter 593. Young Master. Her lips parted slightly, accompanied by a cry of surprise, and a fragrant wind flashed. Under the stunned gazes of the All Stars College geniuses, the red-clothed girl had already entered Qin Feng's embrace like a swallow returning to its nest. Am I seeing things? Why did senior sister Red Lotus enter senior brother Qin's embrace? Heavens, my heart is about to break. Facing so many murderous gazes, Qin Feng was calm and indifferent. Instead, he lightly snorted. Humph, little girl, you still remember young master. Young master. Red Lotus's eyes were like water. Looking at the gentle and moving gaze in the girl's beautiful eyes, Qin Feng's anger unknowingly dissipated. He patted the shoulder of the red-clothed girl in his embrace. A master and a servant, a warm feeling flowed out. Mei Ruoxuan's eyes revealed a trace of astonishment, followed by a trace of envy and a trace of amazement. From the way the red-clothed girl addressed Qin Feng, she called him young master. On the side, Bai Yun and Yun Mo's expressions changed. A sour taste seeped into their hearts, and they couldn't help but ask. However, someone's expression was even more unbearable than the two of them. Junior sister Qin, may I know who this junior brother is? Could he be your elder brother? It was the purple-clothed youth. His clothes were bright, and he had a dignified bearing. His gaze was dignified, and this kind of bearing was at the level of an assassin to ordinary girls. In contrast, Qin Feng didn't have much of a presence, especially his identity. From the mouths of many disciples, Qin Feng already knew the identity of the youth in front of him. Inner sect disciple Lu Feng, a peerless genius of All Stars College from more than 10 years ago. A general whose fame spread far and wide in the savage battlefield. To be able to become a general in the savage battlefield, he was at least a deputy general who commanded more than 10,000 astral soldiers. This was a general with real power. It was said that he had already entered Jiamu Peak and was the personal disciple of the peak's head. Red Lotus rose from Qin Feng's chest and pointed at the purple-clothed youth. Young master, let me introduce you. This is my good friend, Lu Feng. He is the 9th disciple of the Jiamu Peak's first seat martial uncle. His attainments in earth elemental techniques are extraordinary. He has already comprehended the origin of earth elemental techniques several years ago and became a magnate. Lu Feng frowned slightly when he heard how Hong Lian addressed him. Young master? This form of address made him think of some bad things, but he was obviously quite a gentleman. He said with a smile. Junior brother Qin Feng, it's an honor to meet you. Although Qin Feng didn't have a good first impression of Lu Feng, he wasn't someone without tolerance. Although Red Lotus was his maid, it didn't mean that she couldn't have friends. So it's young Master Lu, nice to meet you. Seeing that Qin Feng wasn't angry, Red Lotus inwardly heaved a sigh of relief. She was even more touched. Her young master didn't disappoint her by doing something out of line. This is my young master. Qin Feng is also the previous Azure Dragon Academy's first seat. After a slight pause, her eyes revealed a trace of pride. Moreover, my young master is a grade 4 alchemist. Senior brother Lu Feng, if you want to refine pills, you can look for my young master. Hearing Hong Lian's tone, Lu Feng's eyes were a little strange. Lu Feng could be considered to be quite tolerant when his admirer praised another man so highly. However, he still felt a burst of bitterness in his heart. Qin Feng had been sizing up Lu Feng. Some of Lu Feng's expressions were seen by him. He couldn't help but laugh. Obviously, Lu Feng was one of the little girl's admirers. After sizing him up seriously, Qin Feng nodded to himself. This person wasn't a scheming person. It was a pity that this little girl was his official wife. He couldn't let others touch her. Although he instinctively didn't like Qin Feng, Lu Feng still asked the question in his heart. Junior sister Hong Lian, why do you call junior brother Qin Feng young master? Not only did the surrounding All Stars College students perk up their ears, even Bai Yun and Yun Mo paid special attention. Hong Lian swept a glance at everyone and smiled sweetly. A beauty showing her beauty, flowers blooming. At this moment, who knew how many men's hearts were beating fast? I was originally a person with no background. Since I was young, I was known as a jinx who brought bad luck to my parents. I was expelled by my family and hated by the townspeople. In addition, I had a birthmark on my face when I was young. I was ugly and wasn't liked by anyone. Only the young master. At that time, the young master pitied me and gave me food and clothing, as well as dignity. Naturally, I entered the young master's room as a maid. However, The young master never treated me as a maid. Hong Lian was natural and unrestrained as she narrated the whole story. Hearing this, everyone's expression changed. They didn't expect this beautiful girl to have such an unbearable past. Many people looked at the girl in front of them with admiration. Gentle, kind, and strong. Many gazes fell on Qin Feng. The flames of jealousy almost burned Qin Feng to ashes. Qin Feng's luck is too good. He picked up a beauty on the street. At this moment, many young men were wringing their hands. They wished they were the one who picked up Hong Lian. Lu Feng's mouth was sour, but his heart was even sadder. He knew that he couldn't easily shake a relationship that was cultivated like this. However, I have to give it a try no matter what. If I miss this amazing girl, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. His gaze fell on Qin Feng. His fighting spirit was high. Qin Feng looked at this scene with a smile. In half a year, Hong Lian had changed a lot. Not only had she grown into a little troublemaker, her mentality had also undergone some subtle changes. It was hard to imagine what the girl in red had experienced to have such a change. After the girl finished speaking, Qin Feng chuckled. Of course not. You're my Qin family's future wife. How can I order you around like a servant? If I order you around badly, it'll be too late to cry. Hearing this, many young men's faces changed. Their gazes fell on Hong Lian. Hong Lian's face flushed red. She didn't expect her young master to be so direct. For a moment, the girl's face flushed red. There was a trace of joy hidden in her shyness. However, at this moment, many young men's hearts were broken. She's blushing. My goddess is blushing. My heart is broken. Heavens, I want to kill myself. Impossible, this is impossible. Impossible. In an instant, some young men couldn't help but shout. The situation was getting out of control. Seeing this, Qin Feng raised his brows. He grabbed Hong Lian and their figures flashed, streaking across the void and disappearing in an instant. Lu Feng, Bai Yun, and Yun Mo were in a daze. They didn't notice Qin Feng and Hong Lian's departure. Lu Feng did it for Hong Lian. Bai Yun and Yun Mo did it for Qin Feng. On the side, Mei Ruoxuan was dazed for a moment. She quickly regained her senses and looked at the chaotic All-Stars College in front of her with a bitter smile. This junior brother Qin has really stirred up a big mess this time. Hong Lian's status in All-Stars College was very special. Now, Qin Feng publicly declared that Hong Lian was his woman. Most likely, not only would the geniuses of the Stellar Academy be envious and unable to sit still, even some of the inner court disciples of the Stellar sect, and even the true disciples would act upon hearing the news. Femme fatale. The number of suitors for Hong Lian wasn't something Qin Feng could imagine. Even if Qin Feng was a marquis genius, he would still be in big trouble. Mei Ruoxuan felt troubled. She inwardly complained about Qin Feng's impulsiveness. Chapter 594. The Scarlet Sky Peak towered into the clouds. Beside the cloud Dingtian Lake, there were rows upon rows of palaces and pavilions, layers upon layers. At the very top was the Primeval Hall. Below the Primeval Hall were the residences of the Scarlet Sky Peak disciples. The Scarlet Sky Peak was currently led by the 6 great outer disciples. Other than the first 3 outer disciples, Luan Xiaochuan, Su Jie, and Zhao Yuan, there was also Lu Xiu, Yu Yao, and Chen Guang. Lu Xiu was a disciple of the Azure Dragon Institute. Because of his friendship with Qin Feng, he was hated by Aokuan of the 5 Elements Squad. He had no choice but to take refuge in the Scarlet Sky Peak. Later on, he chose to stay in the Scarlet Sky Peak. Thus, Yu Yao also joined Qin Feng's faction at that time. Chen Guang came from an ordinary background. He was originally a high-level medicine boy of the Scarlet Sky Peak. Because of his diligence in cultivation, Qin Feng promoted him to an outer disciple. The 6 of them entered the Medicine King Hall and were considered to have a proper status. Now that Qin Feng became the ruler of the Cloud Lake City, the 6 of them also rose in status and became disciples of the Level 5 Medicine King. Of course, there was a difference between the Medicine King Hall's inner disciples and the Xingqian School's inner disciples. One was the earth while the other was the sky. They couldn't be compared. However, after becoming a Level 5 inner disciple, the authority and privileges they received would increase day by day. They would be far stronger than their peers. Moreover, the current Scarlet Sky Peak already had a hint of a dojo. Only direct disciples could occupy a Level 9 spiritual mountain and open up a dojo. If the Scarlet Sky Peak was promoted to become the Scarlet Sky Peak Dojo, the disciples on the mountain would also be promoted and receive corresponding rewards. The other high-level medicine boys could become odd-job disciples, while the 6 great outer disciples could be promoted to Xingqian School's outer disciples. It was a wonderful thing to reach the heavens in a single bound. Therefore, when they knew that Qin Feng was going to compete for the position of a direct disciple, the entire Scarlet Sky Peak was in an uproar. The Primeval Hall was a hall personally named by Qin Feng. At this moment, a group of disciples wearing black alchemist robes were sitting upright. They were led by a man and a woman. The man had thick eyebrows and big eyes. The woman was cold and charming, with a trace of coldness that kept people 1,000 miles away. They were Yan Fei-er and Huang Pu-song. Those present were all apprentices sent over by the Medicine King Hall. Qin Feng had always been busy cultivating. At this time, taking advantage of the fact that there was still some time before the legacy ceremony, he imparted Tao to this group of apprentices and dispelled their doubts. After explaining some key points and answering some questions that had been accumulated by the disciples for a long time, Qin Feng drove the group of people out. In addition to these disciples, there was also a group of high-level apprentice alchemists listening at the side. For example, Yun Zhan, Lu Zitian, Yu Hansong, Han Qing, and a group of high-level alchemists. Being able to become an alchemist was the ultimate dream of countless medicine apprentices. To be able to listen to the lecture of a genius alchemist, the group of medicine apprentices were all exceptionally attentive. On the other side were Luan Xiaochuan, Zhao Yuan, and Su Jie. Yu Yao's beautiful eyes flickered, but her gaze was fixed on Red Lotus, who was sitting in the back seat next to the main seat. Her pretty face changed, revealing an indescribably complicated expression. Right at this moment, a medicine boy wearing a green medicine master's robe walked over in a hurry. Senior Sister Yu, Xingqian School's inner disciples, Chen Qian and Chen Kuan, request an audience with the Peak Master. Yu Yao raised her eyebrows and said, Chen Qian and Chen Kuan, aren't they Miss Red Lotus's admirers? These 2 brothers are quite famous in Xingqian School. They are known as the Qian and Kuan duo, but they are nothing in front of our Peak Master. The Peak Master said that he would not meet these flies. The medicine boy nodded. I'll drive them away right now. Yu Yao nodded, and a trace of emotion flashed through her beautiful eyes. When she was in Shanhe City, when she heard that the Xingqian School's inner disciples were an inner disciple, her entire family would tremble. If a Xingqian School's inner disciple was in a country like the Yan country, it would cause a huge uproar in the entire country. Now they were driven away just like that. However, these inner sect disciples were at a loss for what to do. These days, Chen Qian and Chen Kuan were not the only inner disciples that she had driven away. Even a true disciple would be denied entry to the sect. No one doubted that Qin Feng would fail to become a direct disciple. After 2 hours, many disciples walked out of the Primeval Hall respectfully. After everyone left, only Yan Fei-er and Huang Pu-song were left in the hall. Qin Feng raised his head and looked at the 2 of them. Is there anything else you 2 want? Yan Fei-er asked. Master Qin, I heard that Master Qin is preparing to participate in the direct disciple ceremony, so I specially prepared a gift for Master Qin. After speaking, she took out a roll of cloth from her jade sleeves. Huang Pu-song did not speak. He looked at Yen Fei in surprise. He did not expect Yen Fei to have the same thought as him. He bowed his head. I also have a gift for Master Qin. He took out a gold-plated book from his sleeve. Qin Feng's eyes moved slightly. With a wave of his sleeve, the items in their hands flew to the table. He glanced at them, and a trace of surprise appeared in his eyes. He nodded. You two are quite thoughtful. After muttering to himself for a while, Qin Feng's true energy condensed between his fingers, forming talisman scripts in the air. After a while, he waved his sleeves, and talisman scripts flew out like a river. Before Yen Fei and Huang Pusong's shocked eyes, the talisman scripts condensed into a small silver book in front of them. This is a summary of some simple understanding of alchemy. There is also a fire control method. Go back and study it carefully. You will definitely gain something. Hearing this, Yen Fei and Huang Pusong were overjoyed. He hurriedly put away the silver booklet. Many thanks for Master Qin's kindness. You can leave. Qin Feng waved his hand. The two bowed again and retreated out of the primeval hall. Young master, what did they give you that made you so happy? Red Lotus guessed. Could it be some inside information about the direct disciple ceremony? Red Lotus was clear about Yen Fei and Huang Pusong's background. Although these two disciples had been keeping a low profile and hiding their identities, they actually had a great background. Compared to the high-profile disciples of the Xingchen School's elders in All Stars College, their backgrounds were even greater. Little girl, you're so smart. You guessed it right. I didn't expect the sect to set the direct disciple examination in the Demon Refining Tower. Red Lotus was shocked. Isn't the Demon Refining Tower the place where the sect imprisons enemies? I heard that there are many powerful people imprisoned there. Not only are there overlords, but there are even martial Dao experts and outer path saints. Xingchen School was a big family with a lot of enemies. Most of the experts they captured over the years were locked in the Demon Refining Tower. After tens of thousands of years, who knew how many terrifying existences there were in the Demon Refining Tower? Qin Feng nodded with a dignified expression. Yes, that's right. This direct disciple ceremony isn't simple. According to the information obtained by the people behind Yen Fei and Huang Pusong, there are 6 stages in this direct disciple ceremony. Only by passing all 6 stages can one become a true direct disciple. The Demon Refining Tower isn't a good place. Danger lurks everywhere. Not to mention 6 stages, even one stage is hard to pass. Those imprisoned martial Dao experts and outer path saints hate Xingchen School to the core. If they see Xingchen School's experts, they're willing to die together with them. Most importantly, there are only 9 direct disciple quotas this time. Among the hundreds of disciples who entered, less than 1 out of 10 will be selected. Red Lotus's expression changed. 1 out of 10? But there are hundreds of disciples. That's nearly 100 martial Dao experts. There are even half-step martial Dao experts. Isn't there too little meat? Young master, you haven't really broken through to the Nirvana realm. I'm afraid, there's another chapter later. Chapter 595. At this time, in All Stars College, Jiang Taichu was suffering unspeakably. Ever since he offended Qin Feng and had his strength and cultivation sealed, he had become a rat on the street that everyone wanted to beat up. He originally thought that he could slowly undo the seal on his body with his painstaking effort. Who would have thought that he would underestimate Qin Feng's Primal Chaos Light and Darkness Seal? Qin Feng's Primal Chaos Light and Darkness Seal was a terrifying sealing technique obtained from an ancient ruin. It was rumored that it could seal an ancient supreme being. After being sealed by the Primal Chaos Light and Darkness Seal, whether it was true power or soul power, any power cultivated would be involuntarily absorbed by the Primal Chaos Light and Darkness Seal. Jiang Taichu naturally suffered a tragedy. In half a month, he had become All Stars College's famous trash. From a genius to a trash, Jiang Taichu was suffering unspeakably. At first, the disciples of All Stars College who had been suppressed by him were somewhat afraid, but as time passed, those people became more and more unscrupulous. He had sought out the powerhouses and elders of All Stars College, begged the direct disciples of Xingchen School, and even used his connections to invite 2 supreme martial arts elders of Xingchen School. However, these supreme martial arts experts were also helpless. At this time, Jiang Taichu was completely flustered. Jiang Taichu, you only have 2 choices now. One is to ask the sex sage for help. Perhaps the sex sage has the ability to undo the seal. The second is to ask the one who started it to undo it. Go and beg Qin Feng. He definitely has a way to undo this terrifying seal. He recalled the advice of the supreme martial arts elder before he left. Jiang Taichu would not choose the second option even if he was beaten to death. Lowering his head to Qin Feng, this great enemy, was even more painful than killing him. At this moment, it could be said that he hated Qin Feng so much that he wanted to eat Qin Feng's flesh and blood. Lowering his head to Qin Feng was even more painful than killing him. Martial arts sage. After the Nirvana realm, a martial arts expert who had survived a great tribulation was called a supreme martial arts expert. After passing 2 great tribulations, they were called supreme martial arts experts. Those who had survived 3 great tribulations were called quasi-sages, or half-sages. Only those who had survived 4 major tribulations were qualified to be called saint. Saints had a lifespan of 3,000 years. Such an existence was like a living fossil ancestor. Even a pig that lived for 3,000 years could become a demon and become a demon king. Not to mention a peerless martial artist. Although Jiang Taichu was arrogant and conceited, he did indeed possess a confidence that ordinary geniuses did not possess. His confidence came from the Grand Supreme Elder behind Xingchen School. No one knew that he had long since caught the eye of a Grand Elder and was quietly taken in as a nominal disciple. If he could become a true disciple, he would naturally become a direct disciple. That night, he cast a spell to invite the Grand Supreme Elder's divine sense to descend. Originally, he thought that he could break the seal, and he would immediately repay those students of the Star Academy who insulted him, and even Qin Feng's bestowal. However, the judgment given by this Taishang elder made him despair. No, this seal has condensed your essence, energy, and spirit into a yin and yang hub. Simply speaking, it has tightly combined your essence, energy, and spirit with the power of the seal. This seal contains countless runes that run through your essence, energy, and spirit. If you don't understand the trick behind it and forcefully break it, your essence, energy, and spirit will directly collapse and die. Jiang Taichu was anxious. 9 form Saint Sovereign, then what should I do? What else can you do? Who told you to provoke such a difficult person? You are asking for trouble. Now I will give you 2 paths. One is to completely abandon all cultivation and walk the path of a body cultivator. Exhaust your physical strength to the limit and shatter the vacuum. You will not die from a drop of blood. The second path is for you to find that brat Qin Feng and find a way to break it for you. Ever since he learned that Jiang Taichu's absolute beginning star had been taken away, this Grand Supreme Elder had completely given up on Jiang Taichu. Jiang Taichu originally walked the path of invincibility. If he could cultivate that invincible supreme battle intent and bravely advance, he might have had a chance to prove his Tao. But now that his state of mind had been broken and his destiny had been taken away, he no longer had a chance. You really won't die if you don't seek death. Of all the people you could have challenged, you just had to challenge Qin Feng. That person is a notorious lawless person. He even dared to empty the wine of the apes' sacred mountain. He even almost blew up the entire younger generation of the wildland. Challenging such a fierce person, if you're not seeking death, then what are you doing? After a few more words, the Grand Supreme Elder withdrew his divine sense, and the brilliance faded away. Jiang Taichu sat there with a pale face. At this point, what other choice did he have? Nine-form Saint Sovereign had given him two paths, and no matter which one it was a dead end. The second option was to admit defeat to Qin Feng and Kowtow. Would Qin Feng be soft-hearted? Once he did so, the shadow of failure would be forever planted in his heart. After that, even if Qin Feng undid the seal for him, his heart would be covered in dust, and it would be difficult for him to advance. The first option was even more impossible. Walking the path of body tempering seemed to be a path full of vitality, but Jiang Taichu had offended so many geniuses in All Stars College and even the inner disciples of Xingchen School. Those powerhouses would never allow him to grow. With a ferocious expression, Jiang Taichu's eyes suddenly turned blood red and his voice was hoarse. Qin Feng, you forced me to do this. Since I have no other choice, I will take you down with me. Jiang Taichu was one of the 5 monstrous geniuses of All Stars College. He suppressed many geniuses of All Stars College and was known as one of the strongest geniuses in the history of All Stars College. Naturally, he was an elite among elites, a genius among geniuses. Whether it was in terms of cultivation talent or luck, he was superior to many young martial arts experts. Naturally, he had also obtained many treasures along the way. One of them was a 6-armed curse demon puppet. This was an extremely strange ancient evil item. It was a strange item that Jiang Taichu had found in the treasury of a large family after destroying it. This curse demon puppet was rumored to have an evil nature. It seemed that anyone who obtained this curse demon puppet would not be able to escape the fate of having their family destroyed. Originally, Jiang Taichu did not believe in evil, nor did he believe that a mere curse demon puppet could ruin his luck. Looking at this pitch-black, dusty 6-armed curse demon puppet, he seemed to see this evil demon puppet letting out a sinister and strange laugh. It's too late to regret, too late to regret. A strange sound came from its mouth that seemed to be laughing yet not laughing, crying yet not crying. A moment later, a ferocious expression flashed across his face. Qin Feng, even if I, Jiang Taichu, die, I will drag you down with me. Jiang Taichu's blood-red eyes stared at the 6-armed curse demon puppet that was exuding an evil aura. When he obtained this evil item, he also obtained a strange animal skin cloth. There was a strange evil technique recorded on the animal skin cloth. As long as someone could sacrifice their own flesh and blood, soul, and even memories and luck to the curse demon puppet, there was a certain chance that the curse demon puppet could fulfill a wish of the host. Inside the room, Jiang Taichu stared at the 6-armed curse demon puppet. His face was gloomy as he followed the memory on the animal skin cloth. An hour later, a strange altar appeared in front of him. The altar was surrounded by evil, blood-red runes that flowed with an ancient aura. He slowly stepped onto the altar and took out the dagger that he had prepared beforehand. With a ferocious look on his face, he slashed at his wrist. Blood gushed out like a waterfall. Blood splashed out and seeped into the rest of the altar. The 6-armed cursed golem slowly turned blood-red. At the same time, an ancient evil will slowly awakened. I, the 6-armed evil sovereign, have finally awakened. Chapter 596. The 6-armed evil god was a peerless evil ancestor. A terrifying existence that was famous in the immemorial era. However, it was rumored that the 6-armed evil god stirred up trouble during the Second Great Divine Demon War, torturing living beings and spreading evil cult. It was defeated by the 3 ancient emperors and disappeared. This time, it was reborn and awakened. Countless bloodlights poured into the 6-armed cursed demon puppet like a waterfall. A surging will was awakened and Jiang Taichu's aura was drowned. After a while, the blood-red six-armed cursed demon puppet suddenly turned into a bloodlight and entered Jiang Taichu's glabella. Such dense resentment. It turns out that a peerless monster used his own essence, energy and spirit as a sacrifice. No wonder it could awaken this sovereign. Jiang Taichu opened his eyes and a faint black and red light flickered in his eyes. The entire room seemed to be dyed red by blood. Oh, there's a final wish. Kill Qin Feng? He's just an ant. This sovereign will agree to your request. Scarlet Sky Peak, Primeval Hall. Looking at the two name lists in his hands. In addition to some information about the Demon Refining Tower, there was also a list of disciples participating in this year's successor ceremony. According to the information collected by the people behind Yan Fei and Huang Pu Song, there were nearly 110 people participating in this year's successor ceremony. Most of them were Nirvana Realm experts. In other words, most of the people participating in the successor ceremony were martial arts overlords. The strongest were 12 people. Chunyu Fengshan, Gong Yangzi, Gong Sun Hong, Yi Guangji, Ling Weiyang, Qi Yannu, Jian Zongyuan, Taishu Fengyun, Dongfang Qinyun, Zhi Yao, Yang Chongxing, Pan Wu. Looking at the 12 names, Qin Feng smiled bitterly. Half-step Martial Dao Almighty. These existences could pass a great calamity at any time and become a Martial Dao Almighty. Xingqian School claimed to have hundreds of thousands of disciples. Every disciple was talented and outstanding. Outer sect disciples were already so harsh, let alone inner sect disciples. Every inner sect disciple was an outstanding talent. If they were placed in an ordinary sect, they would be the successor of the sect and the leader of the sect's revival. Half-step Martial Dao Almighty could be said to be a man among men, an overlord among the overlords. Hong Lian asked worriedly, "Young master, why don't you wait until the last round?" Elder Su from the Medicine King Hall came by just now. He said bluntly that even if you suppress 2 geniuses, you might not be able to enter the top 10. In Hong Lian's opinion, young master, if you cultivate for a few more years, you might not be weaker than those prodigies. Qin Feng shook his head. Red Lotus, you only know one part of the story, but you don't know the whole story. In the fight for the Great Tao, if you are one step behind, you will always be behind. The position of a true disciple involves many secrets of Xingqian School. After saying that, Qin Feng smiled bitterly. What's more, I, your young master, have enemies everywhere. Those enemies will not give me a chance. If I can't enter the successor hall this time, I'm afraid the next time will be even more difficult. Seeing Red Lotus' worried expression, Qin Feng waved his hand. Hong Lian, don't worry. We haven't seen any deaths along the way. Didn't your young master also go against the flow? What's more, I cultivate the void elemental ultimacy. As the saying goes, time is supreme and space is king. Those almighty people who are half a step away from martial arts may not be able to do anything to me, Qin Feng said confidently. Recently, the Spacebreaker Beast had been subdued and he had obtained the Spacebreaker Beast scale. His understanding of the void elemental ultimacy had improved by leaps and bounds. Hong Lian nodded her head. Since she started cultivating, some of the Bloody Queens will had been awakened. She was no longer the same as before. Naturally, she knew how terrifying a Void Master was. Suddenly, Qin Feng's expression changed. He clawed at the Void Elemental Ultimacy and a crack appeared in the Void Elemental Ultimacy. Hong Lian's eyes flickered. She saw a beautiful woman in a red dress in the Ultimacy. She looked very lifelike. Young master, this is the maid I found for you. Qin Feng pointed at the Ultimacy and the Ultimacy melted inch by inch. Then, he smiled and said, "This woman was originally a prodigy of the dark heavenly lion tribe in the Wildlands Demon Temple. Her name is Shi Tong. I saw that she was very talented and was good at shadow technique. She is good at hiding. She can be your maid. Hong Lian's expression changed. She slowly walked down from the back seat. Her eyebrows moved slightly. After a while, she suddenly snorted. I'm afraid that young master took a fancy to her and pushed her to be his maid. Hearing the girl's coquettish voice, Qin Feng's expression froze. After a while, he chuckled. You flatter me, you flatter me. How can she compare to our Honglian? After saying that, Qin Feng said righteously. If Honglian doesn't like her, I will kill her immediately. Qin Feng appeared in front of the ultimacy in a single step. A wave of energy condensed. In the next moment, Shi Tong was about to die. A jade-like hand stopped Qin Feng. Since young master has given me a maid, Hong Lian will naturally accept her. This is the first time young master has given me a gift. Hong Lian snorted. His first gift was a maid to accompany him in his room. Qin Feng was embarrassed. With a thought, a flag appeared in his hand. Looking at the treasure flag in Qin Feng's hand, the entire primeval hall was filled with a strong tide of spirit light. This is a pseudo-true artifact. Hong Lian was surprised and pleasantly surprised. A pseudo-true artifact was a supreme treasure for self-defense and cultivation. This item was extremely rare. This flag is called the Tidal 10,000 Beast Flag. It was originally an ancient water-type true artifact. However, due to the erosion of time and some damage, its grade fell to a pseudo-true artifact. If you nurture it carefully, it might be able to recover the power of a true artifact. Qin Feng placed the Tidal 10,000 Beast Flag in front of Hong Lian. Hong Lian stared at Qin Feng with her beautiful eyes. Young master, are you giving this treasure to me? This pseudo-true artifact was extremely precious. Even some true disciples might not have one to protect themselves. If this item were to fall into the hands of others, countless experts would fight over it. With a pseudo-true artifact to protect oneself, it could be said that one would have a few more lives. Not to mention, this Tidal 10,000 Beast Flag was an ancient true artifact with vast power that could resist water. Of course I'm giving it to you. You're only in the miraculous void realm and don't have any supreme treasures to protect yourself. With this item, you'll be like a tiger that has grown wings. Hong Lian did not immediately take it. Her beautiful eyes were moved as she looked at Qin Feng. Young master, keep this treasure for yourself. With this item, your chances of becoming a true disciple will increase by a few notches. Qin Feng shook his head. It doesn't matter. Just take it. I've recently cultivated a great water-type magic. This item won't affect me much, but it's very important to you. This treasure has an extremely precious and magical effect. It can refine the original soul of a ferocious beast and increase your spiritual power. It can help you cultivate the golden light whirling magic as soon as possible. With that, Qin Feng's divine thought moved and the Tidal 10,000 Beast Flag in his hand turned into a stream of light that entered Hong Lian's body and merged with her surging blood, Tao True Force. Where am I? At this moment, a woman's voice sounded. Shi Tong was in a daze. Ever since she was captured by Qin Feng, she had been sealed in ice and had only just woken up. Raising her head, her expression changed greatly in the next moment. It's you. Qin Feng laughed. Of course it's me. Chapter 597. A cold light flashed, and in the next moment, a dagger made of dark true power appeared on Qin Feng's neck. Hong Lian's face changed. Blood-red murderous intent appeared. Qin Feng was her reverse scale. Qin Feng's expression didn't change. He turned his gaze over and silently, that dagger froze. Visible to the naked eye, a formless energy rippled with Shi Tong at the center. Wherever it passed, even the air in the surroundings would stop flowing. Shi Tong gritted her teeth and tried to activate the true power in her body, but no matter what, she could not move an inch. You! She looked at Qin Feng in shock. One look was enough to make her unable to move. How terrifying was that? Why, after not seeing each other for a year, you attacked me the moment you saw me. Qin Feng waved his sleeves and the void retreated. Layers upon layers of void space were pushed back like wave. Shi Tong was unable to resist and returned to his original position. How could this be? Shi Tong was in disbelief. Wait, you said a year later. Her face turned ugly. Seeing her expression, Qin Feng knew what she was thinking. You guessed right, it's already a year later. Shi Tong said in a daze. A year later, that means I've been sealed by you for a year. A full year, and her cultivation did not improve at all. Shi Tong was so angry that her face turned pale. The cultivation of martial arts was all about bravery. How many years could there be in a person's life? After being sealed for a year, she had been completely pulled apart. Ignoring Shi Tong's expression, Qin Feng glanced at Hong Lian. Seeing the murderous look in Hong Lian's eyes, he said, "Little girl, this girl is a prodigy of the dark heavenly lion clan. She is wild and untamed. I captured her a year ago, and she refused to submit. Thus, I sealed her in ice. After you take her in as your maid, you have to train her carefully. Otherwise, she might turn on you." Hong Lian snorted. "Young master, don't worry. Since this girl dares to be rude to you, I will definitely teach her how to behave properly." "Maid?" Shi Tong's expression changed. "You want to enslave me?" "Dream on." Dark energy surged from her body, giving off a violent energy fluctuation. Shi Tong knew that he would not be able to defeat Qin Feng, nor would he be able to escape. Thus, he decided to self-detonate. Her temperament was so unyielding. Hong Lian's expression changed, and she was about to step forward to stop him. Qin Feng stretched out his hand to stop Red Lotus. Red Lotus looked at her young master in confusion. This was not like her young master. Qin Feng sneered. He was not in a hurry at all. "Go ahead and self-destruct. Go ahead and self-destruct. If you die, that senior brother of yours will never be able to avenge you." Upon hearing the words senior brother, Shi Tong immediately halted the surging energy in his body. The name Shi Wushuang was Shi Tong's Achilles heel. Shi Tong was in a foul mood. He was not afraid of anything, and the only person he cared about was Shi Wushuang. She gritted her teeth. "What's wrong with senior brother? What do you mean?" Qin Feng said indifferently. "What I mean is very simple. If you die, your senior brother died in vain. No one will avenge him." "Senior brother is dead?" Shi Tong was stunned for a moment before shouting angrily. "That's impossible. Senior brother is the emperor of the golden three-eyed heavenly lion race. He has the forbidden eye. With his bloodline, who can kill him?" Qin Feng shook his head. In his mind, he condensed the memories of Shi Wushuang being killed in the Sea Spirit continent. They formed into light images that appeared in mid-air. From Shi Wushuang's appearance to the encounter with Yi Ding, the scene of Shi Wushuang being killed by Yi Ding appeared in the light images. Qin Feng focused on Shi Wushuang's tragic death. Unwillingness. That intense scene struck Shi Tong, causing her face to turn pale. The scene in front of her was too realistic. She could not find any reason to doubt it. Senior brother is dead. A buzzing sound rang in her mind. Shi Tong's beautiful face was bleak, and a layer of gray appeared in her eyes. Red Lotus looked coldly at Shi Tong, who was on the verge of collapsing. She felt pity for her. If it was her, she would probably go crazy after hearing the news of Qin Feng's death. But the shock is too much. What if she becomes disheartened and commits suicide? Wouldn't that be self-defeating? Qin Feng muttered in his heart. Soon, Qin Feng knew that he was worrying too much. A thick layer of hatred appeared in Shi Tong's beautiful eyes. She stood up and walked in front of Qin Feng in a few steps. "Help me kill that person. Kill that person and I will be yours." She was tall and had an extremely hot body. Even if Qin Feng had a heart of stone and a will of iron, He could not help but feel a ripple in his heart. Her beautiful eyes were filled with a terrifying heat. Her hatred had transformed into flames, and the heat caused Qin Feng's heart to tremble. I know that you want to have me. Help me kill that person and avenge senior brother. Not only is my body yours, but my heart is also yours. Impudent! Red Lotus frowned. A blood-red light wrapped around Shi Tong and lifted her in midair. Do you know that I have countless ways to force you to obey me? Shi Tong's expression was cold. But if you do that, all you will get is a walking corpse. Do you think that you need such a walking corpse? Qin Feng's expression changed. He shook his head at Red Lotus. Red Lotus harumphed coldly. With a wave of her sleeves, she put Shi Tong down. Qin Feng slowly walked over and stopped in front of Shi Tong. You're a walking corpse now. However, I've still decided to agree to your request. This Yi Ding is a mortal enemy of mine as well. We'll definitely have a life and death battle in the future. Either he dies or I live. But if you want to kill him, now is not the time. You must understand this. Shi Tong looked deeply at Qin Feng. I can wait. Qin Feng nodded. A hint of a smile appeared in the depths of his eyes. It was a joyous occasion that he had subdued Shi Tong. Shi Tong possessed a rare darkness constitution. Such a talent would be heavily nurtured by any sect. She was qualified to be a Red Lotus attendant. Next is Shi Han. Actually, Qin Feng wanted to subdue Shi Tong's elder sister, Shi Han. Qin Feng admired the saintess Shi Han's temperament and intelligence. This woman had plotted against him many times and escaped easily. She was beautiful, intelligent, and had the divine radiance physique. Now that I have a younger sister, is my elder sister still far away? Just as Qin Feng was hiding in the scarlet sky peak to cultivate, comprehend the void element's profoundness, and train his attendant, at this moment, a storm was brewing outside Xingqian School. After the news that Red Lotus was Qin Feng's attendant spread out, many geniuses smashed the things in front of them. The entire All-Stars College and even Xingqian School were in an uproar. This matter continued to ferment. Finally, it reached its peak on the eve of the successor ceremony. At this moment, many magnates of the martial Dao made their preparations. They must teach Qin Feng a lesson in the legacy ceremony. In Xingqian School, on a towering mountain, two young men were looking at each other with gloomy eyes. In front of the two of them, an ordinary young man with a weathered face said faintly, Dongfang Qinyun, Jiman, the two of you are the most beneficial inner disciples of Master. This time, Master is lending each of you a true artifact. He hopes that the two of you can suppress Qin Feng and prevent Qin Feng from becoming a true disciple. Don't disappoint Master. Chapter 598. On the cliff, clouds covered the sky. Ji Yao frowned. Elder Yu, I don't understand why senior brother didn't do it himself. If he did, Qin Feng wouldn't have a name. As the saying goes, even a lion needs to use all its strength to catch a rabbit. Why should we let Qin Feng grow? Elder Yu shook his head. This is the sex rule. Xingqian School isn't a Xingqian school that belongs to a single genius. Besides, Master also has a powerful enemy to deal with. The price to pay for killing Qin Feng is too high. Dongfang Qinyun didn't say anything. He was somewhat disdainful of Ji Yao. If Xingqian School could casually kill fellow disciples, the sect's 10,000 years of history would have been destroyed long ago. The legacy of a sect was passed down to the younger generation of disciples. If Xingqian School's disciples were allowed to kill each other, Xingqian School wouldn't last for more than 1,000 years, let alone 10,000 years. Xingqian School allowed competition, fighting, and even killing, but that was only on the Heaven's Punishment platform. Killing in private, even a marquee genius would be killed on the spot. The sect's 10,000 years of history was supported by ironclad rules. Even with Gong Ao's current reputation in Xingqian School, He couldn't kill a marquis genius for no reason. But this time, as long as Qin Feng was suppressed, within 50 years, there would be plenty of opportunities to crush Qin Feng. At the same time, Qin Feng arrived at the Medicine King Hall where the Seven Stars platform was located. At the entrance of the valley, 2 young men in silver armor opened their eyes and suddenly raised their heads. A stream of light flew down from above their heads. Sky Snake Star Tian Ing and Sky Dragon Star Jinglong, who are you? This is the Medicine King Hall's forbidden area. Unauthorized personnel must not enter. Walking out of the silver stream of light, Qin Feng glanced around and smiled. With a flip of his hand, a token appeared in his palm. Sky Dragon Star Jinglong still had some impression of Qin Feng. A year ago, Qin Feng had come to the Medicine King's main hall and revived the true dragon Divine Wood. Furthermore, he had suppressed that 4th-level mystic cultivator, leaving a deep impression on Heavenly Dragon Star Jinglong. Especially the rumors about Qin Feng that came one after another. At this moment, he clearly felt that the aura emitted by Qin Feng was even more tyrannical and terrifying than that of the other warlords who were about to advance to gold. Sighing inwardly, Zheng Long took the token from Qin Feng and took a look at it. Junior brother Qin Feng, go in. The hall master and the other elders have been waiting for you for a long time. Qin Feng's expression changed. We? Senior Marshal Brother Zheng, is there anyone else besides me? Jinglong said. That's right. Other than Junior Brother Qin, there are also a few other disciples from the Medicine King Hall. After he finished speaking, he glanced at Qin Feng and said. This time, the Medicine King Hall gathered all of the Medicine King lineage's disciples. It's considered the general mobilization before the true inheritance grand ceremony. Jinglong's eyes were somewhat envious. He cultivated for dozens of years and barely advanced to the peak of the Sea of Reincarnation realm. However, even so, he was still far away from the position of a true disciple. Intersect disciples and true disciples were like carps leaping over the dragon gate. Each true disciple was a vassal-like figure in the sect. This junior brother Qin Feng in front of him had quite a bit of support in the Medicine King lineage. Receiving the token, Qin Feng stepped into the beer hall. From afar, he saw 7 to 8 young men and women with different temperament. These young men and women's expressions were either indifferent, demure, or cold and arrogant. Hearing the footsteps, their gazes fell on Qin Feng one after another. Qin Feng. It's him. He came too. Could it be that he's also preparing to participate in the true inheritance grand ceremony? What an arrogant guy. Could it be that he thinks that he can be greedy just because he became a conferred marquis genius? Most of the gazes were somewhat disdainful. There were even some hostility and jealousy. Qin Feng swept a glance at these people. These people's strength was very strong. Their aura was surging and majestic. The 8 of them were practically all Nirvana Realm Martial Dao overlords. Looking at their faces, they were also very young. Clearly, their ages were not old. Their strength is very strong. But the strongest should be these 2 people. Qin Feng's gaze fell on the 2 young men. One of them was like a spiritual root, high and mighty like the emperor among thousands of trees. His appearance was picturesque. Wearing a loose green robe, his eyes revealed a kind of extremely heavy majesty. The other person's expression was indeed indifferent. His appearance was ordinary. He wore a pine wood hairpin on his head. His body emitted an aura that made the plants happy. In Qin Feng's senses, the greenwood aura of these 2 people could be said to be as majestic as the ocean. This was definitely a half-step Martial Dao Almighty. By the side, Greenwood Elder Su Chongqing walked over and laughed heartily. Junior brother Qin, I haven't seen you for a year and the changes are huge. He was a little emotional. Junior brother Qin, a year ago we would never have dreamed that you would have today's achievements. A 4th-grade alchemist, a marquis genius, and now you're going to challenge the position of a true disciple. It's really dazzling. Senior brother Su, you flatter me. Qin Feng's gaze fell on the many indifferent young men and women in the field. Su Chongqing came to his senses and said with a smile, "By the way, junior brother, let me introduce you. These 8 are inner sect disciples of my Medicine King Hall. They are Bei Ting, Ling Yangwei, Chen Jing, Wan Song, Zhaoinger Yang Chongxing, Gu Yunfei and Gu Qing. Qin Feng, I've heard a lot about you. I've heard a lot about you." The 8 of them were a little cold. The 8 of them were not familiar with Qin Feng, a genius from Medicine King Hall who suddenly appeared. In the eyes of most of the 8 people, Qin Feng was just a young boy. He was not qualified to be on equal footing with them. Many people's first reaction to such a genius who suddenly appeared was to examine and size him up. Most of them felt uncomfortable. However, there were also people who greeted him. "Junior brother Qin, I heard that your Scarlet Sky Peak is a top-notch spirit mountain with many spirit roots." Qin Feng turned around and looked. This person was one of the 2 strongest among the 8 people. According to Su Chongqing's introduction, this person was called Yang Chongxing. His eyes were calm and he seemed to have a gentle personality. "Senior brother Yang, you flatter me." Qin Feng's eyes turned and he said, "Senior brother Yang's aura is like a spring breeze. Every move of yours seems to be in harmony with the myriad wood zither. You should be cultivating an extremely high-level wood attribute cultivation technique." Yang Chongxing said in surprise. "I didn't expect junior brother Qin to have such attainments in the wood attribute." "That's right. I'm cultivating one of the 12 true inheritances of Xingchen School's inner sect, the Evergreen Wood Secret Art. This is a legendary cultivation technique that leads directly to the position of a wood attribute god. I've heard of this cultivation technique. This cultivation technique can absorb the essence of spirit roots and cultivate with the spirit root. The higher the grade of the spirit roots, the faster one's strength will increase." Qin Feng pondered for a moment. "I do have a few types of spirit roots. As long as senior brother Yang can afford it, it's not like I can't sell them." "Oh!" Yang Chongxing's eyes lit up. He was tempted and was about to speak. Right at this moment, a majestic aura descended from the sky like the sun. A green brilliance like the Azure Emperor's wood god descended. "The Hall Master is here. There's more later." Chapter 599. Boundless light of life blossomed from the green sun in the center of the hall. Countless purple clouds were born from the depths of the void, covering the sky like purple clouds. The purple clouds were vast and mighty, indicating the arrival of a saint. Qin Feng was secretly shocked. Amidst the countless green lights, Qin Feng saw white mountains and black waters, green trees like a forest, and countless spiritual root. This was a green wood school saint. A huge pressure descended from the void. Qin Feng felt as if the void around him was completely frozen by this aura. It pressed down on his body, making him unable to move at all. Qin Feng was a bit better, but Ling Yangwei, Yang Chongxing, Wan Song, Chen Jing, Gu Yunfei, Gu Qing, and the others were sweating all over. They felt an irresistible majesty from the depths of their hearts. Suddenly, Qin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He clearly felt a gaze that was slightly surprised as it landed on his body. It was that wood school saint. Qin Feng's heart skipped a beat. Fortunately, this gaze quickly moved away. "Very good, the 9 Medicine King Hall disciples participating in this Hall of Truth have all arrived." A faint yet dignified voice rang out. The 9 young men and women all raised their heads. They didn't know when, but under the green sun, several experts with extremely powerful auras had appeared. There were 2 men and 1 woman. One was an old man with a purple beard, one was a gray-robed old man, and the other was a woman in colorful clothes. Su Chongqing stood to the side. "This old man is the Medicine King Hall's Hall Master, Du Pingxing, one of the 4 great temples of Xingchen School. The 3 beside me are the Medicine King Hall's elders, Yanli, Jiangwei, and Hua Jiqing. The 3 of them are also the elders in charge of this Hall of Truth. 4 great temples. Qin Feng's eyes flashed. Xingchen School had 28 peaks as its main branch. The 28 peaks were extremely powerful, and the majority of Xingchen School came from these 28 peaks. In addition, there were the 4 great temples that drifted outside the 28 peaks. Any one of the 4 great temples was not weaker than any of the 28 peaks. The 4 great temples were the Alchemy Temple, the Star Monarch Temple, the Myriad Stars Temple, and the Heavenly Works Temple. Of the 4 great temples, the strongest was naturally the Star Monarch Temple. Star Monarch Temple was a temple of Xingchen School that was in charge of external expeditions. This temple was filled with countless star generals, commanders, and even heavenly kings. Star Monarch Saint Hall had 4 heavenly kings, 8 commanders, and countless commanders, and battle generals. It could be said that there were many soldiers and generals, and many people. It was rumored that the ruler of the Star Monarch Temple was a supreme being who was on the verge of confirming his Tao. Below the Star Monarch Temple, the other 3 temples were comparable in power. The Medicine King Hall was one of the many main halls under the Alchemy Temple. Every single person who came out of the 4 great temples possessed the ability to pierce through the heavens and the earth, and had unfathomable and shocking methods. Needless to say, the Hall Master of the Herb King Hall was a wood elemental sage who had survived 4 major tribulations. As for the other 3, Qin Feng could sense that the purple-bearded old man, Yanli, and the multicolor-robed woman were clearly supreme beings who had survived 2 major tribulations. As for the gray-robed old man, his aura was even more terrifying. He stood in the void, giving Qin Feng the feeling that he was thousands of miles away. He was unfathomable, and even his face could not be seen clearly. Qin Feng was shocked. Could this be a quasi-saint? The foundation of this Xingchen School is truly tyrannical. A quasi-saint is merely an elder of a low-level main hall, while the Alchemy Temple has more than 10 main halls. As Qin Feng's thoughts changed, the Hall Master of the Herb King Hall's thoughts fluctuated, attracting everyone's attention. He slowly said, "The fact that you can enter the Azure Emperor's Herb King Hall means that you are all peerless geniuses. You are the most outstanding people among millions of cultivators." After receiving the affirmation of the Hall Master of the Herb King Hall, the 8 young experts revealed smiles on their faces. Qin Feng was expressionless. Qin Feng could feel several gazes crossing his face in an instant. After receiving the affirmation of the Hall Master of the Herb King Hall, Qin Feng could still remain calm. He was too calm. The Hall Master of the Herb King Hall continued, however, "What our Xingchen School needs are the most outstanding people. Every true disciple of our Xingchen School condenses the fortune and inheritance of Xingchen School. They also represent the face of our Xingchen School. As the saying goes, Tao cannot be passed down personally, and the inheritance cannot be neglected. Therefore, the sect will only hold a true disciple ceremony every 50 years. This is a selection, and the number of people is limited each time. This time, there are only 9 people. Those who pass will receive the full cultivation of our Xingchen School. Of course, at the same time, cultivation methods, status, and power will be at your fingertips." The whole place was silent. Every young expert present, including the elders, could not help but flash a fervent look in their eyes. At this moment, Yanli spoke. "This is also your only chance to get close to the sacred position of the sect master. Every true disciple is a future sect master. If you miss it, then you can only become elders like us." Everyone's expression changed. The Hall Master of the Herb King Hall glanced at Yanli, and his eyes flickered slightly. He knew that this junior brother Yanli was feeling indignant for Jiang Wei. Actually, among the 3 elders, Jiang Wei's strength was more than enough to become a hall master. However, according to the sect rules, if one was not a true disciple, he could only become an elder and not a hall master. A true disciple was a true disciple after all. There were many important positions that only true disciples had the qualifications to take on. Unless there were special circumstances. Because most of our disciples cultivate wood attribute cultivation methods and are not good at attacking, there hasn't been a true disciple for nearly 1,000 years. This palace master hopes that you can break this curse. Break the derogatory name that the Firely Hall has placed on our Herb King Hall. The hall master of the Herb King Hall's tone carried a trace of sternness. Derogatory name? Qin Feng muttered inwardly. There were more than a dozen main halls under the Sacred Alchemy Hall. Among them, the powerful ones were the Fiend Poison Hall, Medicine King Hall, Herb King Hall, and Firely Hall. However, although the Herb King Hall was powerful, it was only because of their management methods. Their individual strength was not strong. Therefore, they were often derogatorily called the Medicine Slave Hall or Medicine Farmer Hall by the Firely Hall, who did not see eye to eye with them. He raised his head. The other 8 young men and women did not look too good. At this time, Ling Yongwei suddenly stepped forward. Hall Master, this disciple will definitely suppress the Crimson Demonic Crossbow this time and share your burden. His eyes flowed with confidence, and he was rather high-spirited. The elders at the side looked over, and their gazes landed on Ling Yongwei, and their expressions eased. They had high hopes for Ling Yongwei. In the eyes of the 3, Ling Yongwei was the most likely to become a true disciple among the 9 people present. Yanli nodded. Yes, Ling Yongwei, your Azure Emperor True Sutra is already mature enough. Indeed, you have a high chance of entering the top 9. However, the Crimson Demonic Crossbow is known as the Crimson Emperor, and the Crimson Emperor True Sutra has also been cultivated to the realm of self-generating fire. You must be careful. Chapter 600. Ling Yongwei was born with the Tai Divine Physique, a wood spirit embryo born from the essence of 10,000 trees. He was a genius born to cultivate the Azure Emperor True Scripture. Hall Master, this disciple will not disappoint you. I will do my best. Bei Tingxing and Gu Yunfei stepped forward at the same time, not showing any weakness. The 2 of them were also rare geniuses of the Medicine King Hall. Their momentum was extremely tyrannical. The remaining Chen Jing, Wan Song, Zhaoinger Gu Yunfei, and Gu Qing all expressed their stance. The only ones who didn't move were Yang Chongxing and Qin Feng. All right, I hope you can achieve good results in the next legacy ceremony. The Medicine King Hall Master's indifferent voice sounded. Next, don't resist. I will take you directly to the place where the legacy ceremony will be held. The Demon Refining Tower. At the same time, above the green sun in the center, a mighty green light slashed through the void like a sharp sword. A waterfall-like green waterfall slashed above the void, and a huge green door appeared. Behind the door, a green path to the sky appeared. Qin Feng's expression changed. At this moment, a vast azure light wrapped around the group and rushed into the door like a gale. The azure light wrapped around his body. Qin Feng felt a majestic aura like that of a living god. He was almost unable to move. A moment later, the azure light dissipated, and a vast galaxy appeared in front of Qin Feng. Endless stars shone above his head, forming countless nebulas. The silver brilliance fell like frost and snow. Below his feet was a vast island-like continent. This island-like continent was not big, with a radius of several hundred miles. It seemed to be floating in the dark void. The ground was flat as if it had been cut by a blade. At the end of the island was a huge silver pagoda connecting heaven and earth. It was boundlessly grand. Demon Refining Tower. The 3 ancient words exuded a myriad of auras. This is another heavenly abode or a secret realm? Qin Feng was secretly surprised. This demon refining tower was actually built in a heavenly abode. Heavenly abodes were divided according to size. They were divided into new heavenly abodes, small heavenly abodes, medium heavenly abodes, large heavenly abodes, and divine abode. Most of the newly formed grotto heavens were yellow sand or seawater. Normally, when a sea of reincarnation realm martial artist successfully broke through to the nirvana realm, they would create a new grotto heaven. Newly formed grotto heavens were considered small grotto heavens. A small grotto heaven was completely different from a new grotto heaven. One of the biggest differences was that a small grotto heaven possessed a portion of the grotto heaven's abilities. The cave before his eyes not only had a complete crystal wall system, but it also seemed to have the space derivation ability of a medium-sized cave, which had evolved some small dimensional spaces. That was not all. The grotto heaven inside also had the ability to shine with both the sun and the moon. Countless stars were faintly discernible. At the very least, it was a large grotto heaven. An existence that could open up a large heavenly abode was most likely an ancient supreme being that had severed the passage of time. Qin Feng was deeply touched. Whoosh whoosh. Just as Qin Feng was thinking about this, the young powerhouses of Xingqian School continuously passed through the large grotto heaven and entered this continent. Soon, the number of youths on the islands increased to nearly 200. Each of these 200 young powerhouses was selected from tens of thousands of cultivators. They were the elites of Xingqian School, the geniuses of the geniuses. Qin Feng secretly sized them up and realized that most of these 200 young powerhouses were Nirvana Realm powerhouses. Among them, there were 13 or 14 who were at the peak of the Nirvana Realm. There were 40 or 50 who were at the late stage of the Nirvana Realm. Among them, the young powerhouses at the middle stage of the Nirvana Realm occupied the majority. There were nearly 100 of them. The remaining 30 or 40 were at the early stage of the Nirvana Realm. As for those at the peak of the Sea Reincarnation Realm, there were less than 5 or 6. Qin Feng was one of them. Qin Feng was not unfamiliar with the others. Yi Ding, Wang Daoi, Xinxiu, and the remaining 2 did not seem to fit in with the group. Through the discussion of the surrounding young powerhouses, Qin Feng learned their names. The man's name was Xing Zhou, and the woman's name was Kei Yiner. Enemies are bound to meet. Qin Feng frowned. His fate was intertwined with Yi Ding's. They would not rest until one of them was dead. It would be difficult to separate them. Junior brother Qin. Suddenly, Qin Feng heard a voice beside his ear and raised his head. A young man in a black robe with soft lines, gentle eyebrows, and shoulder-length black hair walked over. Oh, it's senior brother Wang Daoi. Qin Feng was secretly surprised. Qin Feng had noticed Wang Daoi before. This person was not outstanding before the All-Star Martial Arts Meet, but after the All-Star Martial Arts Meet, his strength improved by leaps and bounds, especially his performance in the sea spirit world. He fought against 2 and suppressed Crown Prince Moao on the martial arts prodigy role, the King of Wilderness. Slightly sensing, Qin Feng felt an unfathomable feeling in the depths of his heart. Qin Feng treated Wang Daoi the same way. How could Wang Daoi not treat him the same? He was the supreme of 9 lives, and in each life, he was extremely close to the demon god realm. He thought that he had a unique vision and was knowledgeable. However, Qin Feng was indeed like a cloud of fog in front of him. He could not see clearly and could not understand. The two of them conversed slightly. At this moment, streams of light appeared in the void like stars and rushed in from outside the heavenly abode. There were dozens of people in each stream of light. These 30 to 40 streams of light actually rushed in with more than 1,000 people in an instant. Suddenly thinking of something, Qin Feng frowned and said, I heard that this time Xingqian School is participating in the successor ceremony. Didn't the 28 peaks and the 4 great temples add up to only 100 people? Why are there so many people? Wang Daoi smiled. Junior brother Qin Feng, you are often not in Xingqian school, so you may not know this. These people are not here to participate in the successor ceremony, but to observe the ceremony. Many of them may be the next successor ceremony's participants. Qin Feng nodded. So they are here to see the world. These voices did not enter the continent, but formed streaks of starlight on the periphery, watching the ceremony from the periphery. Qin Feng secretly sensed that many of those auras were martial arts experts. There were also a few people who exuded the aura of a saint. As the disciples gradually arrived, the strength of the young experts on the continent was immediately revealed. In front of the 200 or so young experts, there were 12 young people standing proudly. Ling Yangwei and Yang Chongqing were also among them. These 12 people stood proudly like 10 tall mountains, appearing abnormally lofty. These 12 people, they were the 12 half-step martial arts experts of the Xingqian school's young generation. They were also peak Nirvana realm experts. These 12 people seemed to be able to pass the chaos tribulation at any time and break through to the martial arts realm. Every half-step martial arts expert's strength far surpassed that of a peak late-stage Nirvana realm expert. These 12 people standing at the front were like cranes in a flock of chickens, attracting the attention of everyone present. The young experts present felt the enormous aura of these 12 people and felt waves of pressure. Their faces became solemn. Chapter 601. 12 half-step mighty figures, Chunyu Fengshan, Gong Yangzi, Gongsun Hong, Yi Guangji, Ling Weiyang, Qi Yanu, Jian Zongyuan, Taishu Fengyun, Dongfang Qinyun, Zhi Yao, Yang Chongqing, and Pan Wu. Wang Daoi smiled. These 12 are known as the 12 of Nebula. Everyone knows that they are the most promising young experts to become true disciples this year. Qin Feng said, I don't think this rumor is entirely true. I think we should count you in to make the 12 of Nebula worthy of their name. Wang Daoi glanced at Qin Feng with a profound look. Likewise. Actually, someone has made a list for these 12. Qin Feng's eyes flickered. What do you mean? Wang Daoi said slowly as his gaze swept across the 12 half-step, almighty young experts. The strongest among them is of course Pan Wu. Pan Wu is from the Panga clan. The bloodline of the Panga clan contains incredible power. They are the descendants of the ancient god of creation. The second is Jian Zongyuan, the third is Dongfang Qinyun, the fourth is Gongsun Hong, the fifth is Gong Yangzi, the sixth is Qi Yanu, the seventh is Chunyu Fengshan, the eighth is Zhi Yao, the ninth is Taishu Fengyun, the 10th is Ling Yangwei, the 11th is Yi Guangji, and the 12th is Yang Chongqing. Among them, there are 5 known as the 5 emperors. They respectively cultivate the Azure Emperor's true scripture, the White Emperor's true scripture, the Black Emperor's true scripture, the Red Emperor's true scripture, and the Yellow Emperor's true scripture. The mythical scripture was a peerless scripture that was above the legendary scripture. Qin Feng said solemnly. Azure Emperor Ling Yangwei, Yellow Emperor Gongsun Hong, Red Emperor Qi Yanu, Black Emperor Yi Guangji, and by Emperor Dongfang Qinyun. Qin Feng glanced at 5 of the 12. Among them, Black Emperor Yi Guangji was a beautiful woman in black. By Emperor Dongfang Qinyun seemed to have noticed his gaze, and a peerless gleam flickered in his eyes. Qin Feng was secretly shocked as he spoke. I didn't expect Brother Wang to know these experts so well. Wang Daoi shook his head. These people are active in all the major battlefields and roam the Spirit Sea continent. They have killed many experts and can be said to be famous. Only a cultivation maniac like junior brother Qin Feng, who has no worries, would be unfamiliar with them. Zhong Wuxiang, is that the marquis genius Qin Feng you spoke of? He was indeed very daring to participate in the legacy ceremony with just the cultivation of the Sea Revolution realm. You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Above a nebula, dozens of young experts gathered. The one who spoke was a young girl. They were led by 4 true disciples: Ma Tianjiao, Nangong Yunhua, Tang Shi Li Yin, Zhong Wuxiang, Jiang Chao, Ren Xiaoyao, and the other inner disciples followed closely behind the 4 overlords with surging auras. The one who spoke was Li Yin. Zhong Wuxiang was naturally aware of the dissatisfaction in Li Yan's tone. It was mainly because of Qin Honglian. No one would have thought that Red Lotus was Qin Feng's concubine. With a trace of respect on his face, Zhong Wuxiang put away his usual playfulness. Senior brotherly, I feel that junior brother Qin Feng's actions are not reckless. Junior brother Qin Feng is only at the pinnacle of the Sea Revolution realm, but he has suppressed Nirvana realm experts several times. He even defeated the peerless prodigies on the prodigy roll. He said seriously. Most importantly, he seems to have a huge grudge with that person's adopted son, Yi Ding. If we can rope him in, he will definitely become senior brother Shi Xian's right-hand man in the future. Li Yan didn't express his opinion. Zhong Wuxiang looked at the other 3 true disciples. These 3 true disciples were the most capable experts under Shi Xian. They were all lords of Xingqian school. Ma Tianjiao's expression didn't change. Tang Shi crossed his arms in front of his chest. Junior brother, you are too impatient. He is just a conferred marquis genius. Such geniuses are all arrogant and unruly. Look at him. He has only been in All Stars College for a year, and he is already in a hurry to enter the successor ceremony. It is obvious that he is impatient and has already been blinded by the halo on his body. It is obviously inappropriate to make contact with him now. If we want to recruit him, we naturally have to wait until he falls from grace and loses his mind. Nangong Yunhua crossed her arms behind her back. Only when he loses something will he know how to be grateful to the person who gave it to him. Seeing the expressions of the 4, Zhong Wuxiang was helpless and could only shut his mouth. He looked at the other side. At this moment, the other 5 true disciples were looking at Yi Ding. Zhong Wuxiang was a little worried. If Yi Ding became a true disciple this time, then that faction would expand even further. At the same time, above the clouds, the Medicine King Hall's Hall Master and the 3 elders had left. Jiang Wei and Hua Jiqing's expressions were not good. Hall Master Du, these are the participants for this term's successor ceremony. As expected, your Medicine King Hall has the most participants among all the halls and peaks. Brother Du, it's not that I want to criticize you, but what's the use of having so many people? You're just here to fill up the gaps. A mocking voice came from the figure exuding boundless golden light, attracting the attention of the surrounding elders. Many elders chuckled softly. The Medicine King Hall's foundation was deep, and its overall strength was strong. However, it had never produced any outstanding disciples in recent years. On the contrary, the other halls like the Distant Fire Hall, Physician King Hall, Demonic Poison Hall, Long Life Hall, and Hall of Blood were much weaker, but they would produce 1 or 2 true disciples every 300 to 400 years. Humph, old Lai Hua, don't be too proud. This term, my Medicine King Hall has 2 disciples that entered the 12 Nebula children. Who knows, maybe 2 of our Medicine King Hall's disciples will be promoted to true disciples this time. The Medicine King Hall's Hall Master didn't back down. The Distant Fire Hall Master did not mind. That may not be the case. The ranking doesn't represent the position of a true disciple. If that's the case, why not just give the position of a true disciple directly to the 12 people? Not to mention, your Medicine King Hall's Azure Emperor Ling Yangwei and General Dongmu Yang Chongqing are ranked 10th and 12th respectively. This old man clearly remembers that this successor ceremony only has 9 spots. If it's taken directly, it will only take the top 9. The Medicine King Hall Master sneered. Old Lai Hua, didn't you also say that the ranking doesn't represent everything? Even the Scarlet Demonic Crossbow may not be able to enter the top 9. The Distant Fire Hall Master chuckled. At this moment, countless purple clouds appeared in the sky. Purple clouds circled overhead, and a purple light formed a flight of stairs. From the depths of the stairs, a clear voice suddenly sounded below the Devil Refining Tower. "Everyone is here. Welcome to the Devil Refining Paradise. I'm very happy that this old man can host this term's successor ceremony." The young experts raised their heads. Unknowingly, a purple-robed man had appeared in the void above their heads. No one could see his face clearly, but they felt that he was like a god in the sky. His majesty was above the boundless void and could not be measured. Beside the purple-robed man, there were 4 green rays of light descending. Seeing the 5 people, the various halls, peaks, hall masters, first seats, elders, and disciples all bowed. Chapter 602. The purple-robed man looked around and waved his hand. The experts from all the palaces and peaks stood up. "I am Xingchen School's Grand Elder, Yang Wanli. People call me Perfected Lord Fiend Refining. The 4 beside me are Star Lord Temple's Purple Thunder Heavenly King Lei Li, Vice Faction Leader Ji Xianqing, Horned Wood Peak's Elder Jiang Beiqiu, and True Disciple Shi Xian. The 5 of us will be in charge of the selection of true disciples this time." Grand Elder, Vice Faction Leader. Qin Feng's eyes flickered when he heard the introduction. If the true disciples were the nobles among the nearly 1 million disciples of Xingchen School, then the Grand Elder and Vice Faction Leader would be the Prime Minister, Minister, and so on. Xingchen School governed the entire realm of stars. Every Grand Elder had supreme authority. The people who walked out from the deepest part of Xingchen School each had the ability to reach the heavens and the earth. They all had unfathomable and shocking method. Thunder Heavenly King Lei Li, Ji Xianqing, and Jiang Beiqiu were obviously existences that surpassed martial saints. 4 tribulation experts were known as ancient sages and sages. 5 tribulation experts were known as sage kings. These 3 people might be great sages that were above martial saint kings. The 3 people stood in the void. Even Qin Feng could not see their faces clearly. He could not even see the light. The 3 balls of light seemed to extend from the depths of the void. Standing in the void was actually standing in the depths of the void. The last true disciple might be an extremely powerful martial saint king. Qin Feng was shocked. How terrifying! After 1,000,000 years, no sect has a true disciple of the martial saint king level. This ancient era is really abnormal. However, Qin Feng also knew that the person called Shi Xian must be an overlord among the true disciples to be able to host the true disciple ceremony. Perfected Lord Fiend Refining exuded a mighty power that attracted the attention of all the young experts. All 202 disciples are here. I'll make it short. This successor ceremony will be held in the paradise of Devil Refinement. As you all know, I, True Lord Devil Refinement, am in charge of the sect's law enforcement. Come quickly. The paradise of Devil Refinement is the place to punish and imprison traitors, enemies, and demons. As he spoke, the youths present, as well as the elders and disciples outside, felt the entire paradise of Devil Refinement tremble. Countless miraculous powers of the Tao of Punishment trembled in the outer void, forming a cruel scene of countless sinners, demons, and experts being punished. Countless bizarre torture instruments were condensed in the void, exuding terrifying power. Power of the Tao or the power of fear? Wang Daoi's eyes were deep. His gaze seemed to penetrate through the back of perfected immortal refining demon and saw a huge punishment platform. Endless bloody light filled the air, terrifying to the extreme. Qin Feng thought to himself, the punishment hall is one of the main halls of the Star Lord Temple. This elder should be a hall master from several hundred years ago. According to the inheritance of the punishment hall, his natal star should be a punishment or fear star. Seeing that he condensed all kinds of terrifying instruments of torture with the power of punishment, it should be a punishment star. At this moment, the 200 young experts under the fiend refining tower were immersed in the shock of the immense power. More of them felt a sense of yearning. Perfected Lord Fiend Refining said slowly. All the disciples present are elites from the inner disciples of Xingqian school. I believe that all of you are elites among elites, giants among giants. Each and every one of you has great potential. I also believe that all of you won't be inferior to me in the future. However, true disciples are the most important part of the Xingqian school. They are the chosen ones of the Xingqian school's foundation and inheritance. I and the Xingqian school can't slack off. The quota is limited. 9. There are only 9 spots. As soon as he said this, the expressions of the 200 young experts in the hall tightened. Naturally, the 9 people who advance will be the strongest and the most outstanding among all of you. You may not know this, but it's not just me, the sect master, and the 28 peak masters who are watching this place. The expressions of the young people present changed, and their morale became even higher. Many of the young people's eyes were filled with a soaring fighting spirit. The rules of this legacy ceremony are very simple. This fiend refining tower has a total of 49 levels. This time, I have set up 36 levels. Each level will have a guardian demon or traitor. Every time you pass a level and kill a guardian demon, you will accumulate 1 point. The more levels you pass, the more points you will get. If you pass all 36 levels, you will accumulate 36 points. The 9 true disciples will be chosen from the top 9 with the highest points. Rumble. As soon as he finished speaking, a series of mechanical roars could be heard. Many of the young people present turned their heads. They saw the gigantic fiend refining tower that was like a pillar supporting the sky. Huge stone doors rose one after another. They were pitch black and abnormally terrifying. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. 9 stone doors. The gazes of the young experts present fell on the 9 huge ancient doors, and a primitive ferocious aura surged over like an icy river. Some of the young experts were caught off guard, and could not help but take a few steps back. What a strong ferocious aura! What kind of ferocious creature is locked up in here? It actually has such a strong ferocious aura. Many young experts gasped in shock. A few of the 12 half-step martial Dao mighty figures in the lead frowned as they felt an extremely strong threat. There was a fatal threat in the 9 pitch-black doors. The murderous aura, resentment, and hatred are all so strong. How strong are the demons and monsters in here? Qin Feng's tyrannical spirit perception sensed that the inside of the fiend refining tower was like an ancient ominous cave, and his hair stood on end. Wang Daoi, who was beside him, frowned and said, "Rumor has it that the Fiend Refinement Grotto was picked up by the first Fiend Refinement Perfected Lord, and it has been passed down for an unknown period of time. It should be more than 10,000 years. During this period, who knows how many powerful monster kings, monster sages, and demons have been captured? There are even rumors that there are extremely terrifying ancient giants in the depths of the Fiend Refining Tower. Although many old demons have been locked up in the depths of the Fiend Refining Tower, they did not die with the passage of time. They are stubborn, ancient, ferocious, and tyrannical. They kill each other and devour the weak to extend their lives. Because of the imprisonment of Xingqian School, they hate Xingqian School every day and night and want to get out of there. They want to take revenge on Xingqian School. When fighting in there, not only do you have to be careful of these experts who are about to go crazy, but you also have to divert your attention to resist the ferocious aura." Hearing Wang Daoi's words, Qin Feng's eyes became more and more profound. Many young experts in the field had truly felt the terror of the Fiend Refining Tower, and their expressions became extremely solemn. However, there were also some people, including the 12 half-step martial Dao Supreme Talents, who looked relaxed. They had already received news about the Fiend Refining Tower, and refined some treasures to resist the ferocious aura. At this moment, the voice of the fiend refinement perfected lord was heard. Okay, now I announce the official start of the successor ceremony. Everyone, line up in 9 rows, and 9 people will enter each time. 9 people will enter at the same time. Chapter 603. In the square, 202 young experts quickly lined up in 9 rows. Perhaps because of their cultivation, Qin Feng, Yi Ding, Wang Daoi, Xin Xiu, Xing Zhou, and Qiao Yin the 6 special existences of the Sea of Reincarnation realm, were at the end of the 9 rows. This was very eye-catching. Outside the square, many elders and direct disciples looked at the 6 of them with a slight smile on their faces. Some were teasing, some were disdainful, like a sparrow in a flock of white cranes. At this moment, a stream of light descended from the sky. It was hazy and indistinct. It stopped above the demon refining tower. Is it that direct disciple? Qin Feng's mind moved. A huge water mirror appeared in front of the tower. Now, the first group of 9 people, Gu Tong, Wang Qin, Lu Xiaohua, Qiu Qing Quan Xiamin, Fang Yu, Kuang Baiyu, Dan Jinjin, and Wu Beili, can enter. The 9 young men and women answered and walked out. Standing at the back, Qin Feng and the rest could see clearly that there were 5 men and 4 women. All of them were Nirvana Realm experts. Wang Qin and Fang Yu were late Nirvana Realm experts. As for the other 7, 6 of them were mid-Nirvana Realm experts. The remaining one was early Nirvana Realm expert. 9 streams of light flashed. In the blink of an eye, the black stone door swallowed the 9 voices. At the same time, 9 red lanterns appeared on the first floor of the demon refining tower. The young men instantly understood that this was a sign that someone had passed the test. In just a few breaths, the lanterns on the second floor of the second stone door lit up. This seems to be senior sister Wang Qin. She is so fast. In just a few breaths, she passed the first test. The first test isn't difficult. It is said that the guarding demon is only at the peak of the Sea of Reincarnation realm. Hearing the whispers, Qin Feng looked at the lanterns on the second floor. In a few breaths, the lanterns on the second floor of the third door lit up. That was Fang Yu. The other 7 weren't slow either. They passed the first floor with extreme speed. In a few breaths, they defeated the guarding demon at the peak of the Sea of Reincarnation realm. They are very strong. The remaining young experts all felt a kind of pressure from the surrounding young experts. A quarter of an hour later, Wang Qin Lu, which represented the second stone door, continued to light up the 12 lanterns on the 12th floor. The 12th level. What is the strength of the corresponding crocodile demon on the 12th level? I don't know. Maybe he's at the late stage of Nirvana realm? That will be troublesome. Wang Qin's strength is also at the late Nirvana stage. If it was an ordinary person, it would not be a problem. However, there are demons in the ancient Devil Refining Tower that are far more powerful than those of the same level. It will be troublesome to deal with such demons. Indeed, the demon kings, rebels, and fugitives that are suppressed by Xingqian school are usually people with outstanding strength. Such existences are very difficult to deal with. The expressions of the young experts below the stage turned solemn. At the 12th level of the 36 levels, the Nirvana Realm Magnate would have to face the late-stage Nirvana Realm Magnate. It was very simple. Almost 2 hours later, Wang Qin lit up the red lanterns on the 12th floor. At the same time, Fang Yu lit up 12 layers of red lanterns after an hour. Rumble! Suddenly, a muffled thunder-like rumble came from the Devil Refining Tower. Shi Xian, who seemed to be standing in the depths of the endless void, had a change of expression. A stream of light landed on the 8th floor of the 9th door with a loud bang. An invisible black hole rotated above the lantern on the 8th floor and split open. Rumble! The sound of something breaking through the air resounded. A figure with an extremely miserable aura tumbled out of the black hole. It's Wu Beili. Hiss! Seeing Wu Bailei's miserable appearance, many young experts sucked in a breath of cold air. At this moment, Wu Bailei's body was covered in wounds. His flesh was torn open, and black pus was flowing out of his wounds. He had been poisoned. His face was as white as paper, and his eyes were lifeless. He glanced at everyone present, and a trace of shame appeared on his face. With a loud bang, he fainted on the ground. It seems that he encountered a demon expert who is proficient in poison. This devil refining tower's gatekeeper is unimaginably powerful. Wu Bailei is a famous expert among the inner disciples. He even killed a late-stage Nirvana realm archfiend king in the wasteland battlefield. Even so, he couldn't pass the 8th floor. Under the gazes of many young experts, several streams of light descended from the void and quietly brought Wu Bailei to the side for treatment. On the huge water mirror in front of the tower, a line of golden words appeared at the top of the list. First place, Wu Bailei, 8 points. Although he was temporarily first, all the young experts present, including the elders, powerhouses, and disciples, knew that Wu Bailei was completely eliminated. Following that, experts were blasted out of the devil refining tower one after another. The water mirror rapidly changed under the gazes of many young experts. First place, Wang Qin, 13 points. Second place, Fang Yu, 13 points. Third place, Dan Jinjin, 12 points. Fourth place, Quang Baiyu, 12 points. Fifth place, Gu Tong, 12 points. Sixth place, Lu Xiaohua, 12 points. Seventh place, Quan Qiumin, 11 points. Eighth place, Qiu Qing'er, 11 points. Ninth place, Wu Bailei, 8 points. The first group of people were about the same in terms of points. The reason why they were ranked last was because the first few had lasted a few minutes longer. The 9 stone doors continuously swallowed and spat out the disciples participating in the successor ceremony. Under the gazes of many powerhouses, once a disciple was blasted out of each door, the rest would automatically enter. The rankings on the water mirror were also changing. Unknowingly, Wang Qin, who was first place, was pushed down to second place, third place, and fourth place. Qin Feng frowned. He was calculating his chances of winning against a late-stage Nirvana realm demon or a half-step martial Dao powerhouse. In the Medicine King Hall, Bei Tingxing, Chun Jing, Wan Song, and Gu Qing entered one after another. However, their points were not high. Gu Qing's score was the highest, 14 points. Gu Qing's ranking was higher than Wang Qin's. However, while Qin Feng was pondering, Wang Qin's points had already reached 9th place. Gu Qing entered and squeezed out Wang Qin, becoming 9th place. But soon, Gu Qing was also pushed down. At this time, many young powerhouses displayed their true strength that matched their reputation. Many inner sect disciples, and even true disciples who came to watch the ceremony, were shocked every year. Above the outer nebula, the 3 elders of the Pill King Hall sighed. In their eyes, Gu Qing was the strongest among the 9 disciples of the Pill King Hall, second only to Ling Yangwei and Yang Chongsheng. Even Gu Qing was pushed out, so the situation of the other disciples of the Pill King Hall was not optimistic. However, the elders of the 4 sacred halls and the 28 peaks were unmoved. There were disciples from each family who were pushed down. However, this was only the beginning. The best part was still the day after tomorrow. The 12 nebula scions had not truly begun. When Qin Feng looked up, the rankings on the water mirror had already changed greatly. First place, Han Yu, 18 points. Second place, Lu Zhen, 18 points. Third place, Shi Wuya, 18 points. Fourth place, Tu Qianqing, 18 points. Seeing the rankings being pushed down step by step, many of the youths present felt heavy. The only ones who were relaxed were the 12 half-step martial Dao powerhouses. Among the 12 of them, most of them looked calm. It was obvious that they did not care about the 18th stage. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.